Hi, welcome back to Paris Live here at the Flight Global Media Chalet in Le Bourget.
In Le Bourget, here we are for day two proper of the live show we have for you here from the Paris Airshow. Of course...
well, we should introduce ourselves to our Paris Live viewers. I'm Michael Target.
I'm Graham Dunn.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're going to be here for the whole week. Bring you the best of the coverage from the Airshow, not just the flying display, of course that is the jewel in the crown of it, but trying to give you a bit of a flavour and a bit of colour of what's going on around the show and a bit of the news and a bit of the general ambience.
Yeah, talking about ambience, my word, it's a busy show. I've been out there already this morning. We've been walking up and down the static, meeting people, talking to people, looking at aircraft, and it's a scorcher. It's a scorcher today.
It's frighteningly hot out here,
as you
actually.
can probably tell by my darkening complexion.
And the good news, of course, is we're here for 4 hours. 4 hours in the sun. And I cleverly put sun cream on yesterday, and where it was just cloud cover for the whole thing. Obviously didn't remember today, so both of us are going to be red raw by the end of it.
Yeah, don't adjust the contrast on your television sets or your monitors. It is just us burning away. But yes, as Graham says, so these shows from all 4 trade days of the shows. We're now at Tuesday, day 2. We're bringing you the latest in the news, everything that's going on. We'll be doing a little feature in a second today at Paris, and we can look at the news that's gone into today's papers. And also some fun stuff as well. We've got competition prize giveaways, we've got tweet-ins, we're going to be reading out your tweets, plotting you on the where in the world map. And of course, let's not forget the fantastic flying display.
Absolutely. So we've got another cracking flying display lined up for you this afternoon. We're actually quite confident we know the order of it this time around as well, which does help. And there's some great highlights. And those who were watching yesterday will have caught the SU-35, which was absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic.
And we got back to it, so we'll give you the details of that flying lineup as well.
Yeah, I mean, Graham's right. Eagle-eyed viewers yesterday may have noticed some discrepancy between the timings we were publicising and giving with the flying display and actually what was going on in the air, because we didn't know. It was creatures.
Are you being attacked?
Actually, I think I'm a red flower or something. Yeah, it was all up the spout yesterday. I think it started off manic with this torrential electric storm, downpour.
There was a huge storm here in Paris yesterday, which caused quite a lot of problems. I mean, it was quite massive, kind of Wi-Fi across the building, which made life quite difficult.
Well, that's right, and I think some viewers yesterday experienced a slightly choppy program breakup, and we have a lot of IT tech in here.
You say when you say choppy program breakup, that isn't our links. That actually is more of a technical term. Yeah.
Yeah, I was referring to the technical. Of course, our links were seamless.
Yeah,
seamless.
And not choppy program breakups.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a breakup. We have a 10 meg dedicated upload line that was taken down to 1 meg. That was because of the server room here at Le Bourget got flooded with the volume of water that was coming through. But we're much more confident for today, as long as the torrential storms keep away.
And we'll be keeping you up to date with what's expected and the weather a bit later on in the programme, in fact.
Yeah, the weather with Goobs coming up a bit later. So that's excellent. And of course, right, so we should talk a bit about today's competition, today's tweet-in for you guys out there to win some fabulous prizes, and what else we've got coming up. So remember, in fact, the contact details are at @Paz_live is the Twitter handle.
That comes direct to us here. If you're watching on the Ustream, then please join in the debate and the comment and anything else under there in the comment box under there. I know loads of you are getting in contact with us through that.
That's right. And if you're an email person, you can email webmaster@flightglobal.com.
That sounds very old school now, though, doesn't it?
It does. It's almost like if you'd like to write to us in like paper. I don't know. Does anyone do that anymore?
Right to Sutton, Quadrant House, Sutton,
Pebble Mill,
SM25AS. We also accept fax.
Yeah.
You can fax it through to us.
Yes, good luck with that. So all week, I say, we started on Sunday under the radar.
Under the radar.
For those lucky viewers who found our preview programme, which was more of a dress rehearsal, but went out live. And then yesterday, obviously, full day packed with goodies. And today, but yesterday's topic, your first words on Mars, because we were joined by Buzz Aldrin live in the studio
Yeah,
here.
so I think it's worth underlining that if you weren't with us yesterday, we do have sort of special guests around the show, and we had Buzz Aldrin came in yesterday. Mike was supposed to have a fascinating interview there, and we gave away. He very graciously signed his new book, Mission to
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars.
My vision, his vision of a manned. Futurist space exploration.
Yeah.
I think that was it. And so we asked you guys to tweet in what would be your first words if you were the first people on Mars. And lucky winner, I think it was Andy Duff.
Andy Duff.
Which we'll be sending the book through to you. But today's competition, it's a cracker, Graham.
Is it?
It is a cracker. Now, if you're like us and you've done a bit of travelling, most of you probably will have done on various flights around the world. You've probably had a memorable experience at one point. You know, everybody's got a flight story, haven't they? I sat next to this person, we had a crazy storm here, I flew in a light aircraft all the way across Australia or something like that. Everyone's got a story.
We want to, and these are things we want to hear about. To be part of the show. We want to hear your weirdest, maddest, shortest, longest journey possible. How nuts a flight have you had?
Yeah, I think we've got a hashtag actually. Could we confirm what the hashtag is? Something like crazy flight or something like that. Hashtag crazy flight.
And so it can be any sort of form. Maybe it's as Mark said, like really long distance in a tiny aircraft, or maybe you were on board a flight and you were the only one on board. I'd love to hear about anyone who got on a commercial airline flight and was the only one, had the entire cabin to themselves.
That would be a great story. That would be a great story.
So that sort of thing, that's the kind of thing we're after.
Well, it kind of ties in with and something we'll show you a little bit later. And we had some episodes yesterday, but we serialised how we got the FLIR Star Sapphire 380 HD sensor, which brings those infrared and high def images of the flying display. How we actually got it from America, where it lives, over here to Le Bourget. And I happened to be on that flight, which was a single engine turboprop Pilatus PC-12, and we went via Greenland and Iceland. So we'll show you some of that footage. But we thought, well, that was a memorable flight. What other memorable flights have people got out there? So you need to tweet in or drop in and do the hashtag and let us know. And do you know what the prize is for the best one, as judged scientifically by our
very
good selves?
scientifically. No, Michael, please tell me what that prize is.
Well, we have very good friends at Qatar Airways, and they're very interested in memorable flights. They feel that they have a, what do they call it, a first-class cabin experience, I think. So our good friends there have kindly donated a pair of tickets to fly anywhere on the Qatar network for lucky winners today. And we've also got some Qatar 787 models to give away to runners-up as well. So it's well worth getting involved in that competition to win that pair of flights anywhere in the Qatar network. Isn't that a great prize?
It's absolutely fabulous. So really, like I say, well worth getting involved in that, and all the ways you've heard of how you can do that across Twitter, Ustream, the web, post, fax. But do get in touch with us this afternoon on that one. We'd really like to hear from you.
So hashtag crazy flight and your most memorable flight experience. But we also have an ongoing topic.
Yes,
so not just the topic du jour, the
absolutely.
topic of the week.
We'll be doing it all across the week. We want to know where you're watching from, whereabouts in the world you are as you're watching this live flying display. So please tweet us on the same approach, whether it's Twitter, email, Ustream. Let us know where you are when you're watching it. We've been trying to build up a map, and we'll be showing you the map a bit later of where everyone is, where the furthest out we are. But I think we've got almost every continent covered. I think Latin America was still. We got as far as the Caribbean and the.
We're certainly filling up, yeah. And we'll have a look at that map. We had some people watching overnight the recorded version of this film. So I've had a sneak peek at some of the tweets. We'll be reading those out in a minute, and there's some more interesting places out there, and we'll fill out that map in due course.
So don't forget, get in touch with us on all those ways which we've just been showing you on the screen.
Yeah. So if we put up the contact details now, just before we go to Today at Paris.
Today at Paris.
today at Paris.
Yeah, so this is the section of the show, boss, where we well, maybe sit back and review some of the ahead of the air show, which is obviously coming up here, the flying display coming up later this afternoon. We take a look at some of the stories and some of the headlines that have been making the news, particularly in our daily paper. It's been a very busy news show even this morning, and obviously this is it's day 2 by now. People are really getting into their stride amongst the airframers and manufacturers. And this morning, Boeing have been really busy with the launch of their latest version of the 787, the 787-10. Obviously, the aircraft, the 787, has been like the talking point of the last everything this year, from its launch, from its grounding, from its back in the air. But now they're looking at the Dash 10, and it's secured its first aircraft orders and customers for that. So they've got launch. They've gone for United Airlines, Singapore, British Airways, and 2 lessors, ALC, which is Stephen Udvar Hazy's lessor, and GCAS. Now, all of those have made those initial commitments for the 787-10, so they've launched with that this morning. You can read loads about that on flightglobal.com today and across the rest of the day. And that'll be in tomorrow's paper.
That will no doubt be in tomorrow's paper. But in today's
today's?
paper, so we've got looking over. Show it to you guys there. I'm sure you can see it if you have a bit of a zoom in. Now on the front page there is an Embraer store, which we'll come back to in a minute. We've got a nice bit of video from that from our editor of Airline Business, Max Kinsey-Jones. But as I said, we'll come back to that. And moving further into the paper.
Yeah, on page 4 we have the very catchy headline there, as you can see, Panzer attacks, and that's
yes.
That follows the Finmeccanica chief Alessandro Panza, who
put the boot in. Is that the
well,
technical term?
Yes. He was quite.
He's very critical.
Critical, yeah.
I think is not too strong a word with regards to the relationship and the support from Sukhoi over the Superjet. He describes, and I quote, the relationship as significantly unsatisfactory. So that's sort of heavy words coming there in a public press briefing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We'll wait to see what the fallout of that is.
Yes, that's the story we've been following across this week. At the bottom of the stage, you can see Fly International's very own Murdo Morrison.
So that's shaping up for success. The headline. What that means is tonight. So it's a little plug there for tonight. Is Flight Global's Achievement Awards. And that's something we do every year, celebrating the really significant players, people in the industry. We've got 3 awards: Aviator, Leader, and Innovator of the Year. Which so we've had some prestigious winners in the past. We've had Richard Branson and Captain Sullenberger. All good stuff, great people. Tonight we get to find out who this year's winners are. And we do that in conjunction. There's also something for the kids in there as well. I say kids in a really patronising term. We have the Boeing Engineering Student of the Year Award as well, which celebrates some really top-class talent coming through from the education levels. I always find that a little bit of a depressing experience meeting them, because they're amazingly bright people who have been working on sort of landing systems for Mars rovers and things, and they're like 18.
It's quite depressing, isn't it? On page 6, there's a lovely image, as you can see, from yesterday's
Days of Thunder
display. Yes, as a general rule, we try and get the designers and production team here try and get as many Tom Cruise film references in there as they can. That's I think on page 8 you can see Far and Away, and Eyes Wide Shut is makes on page 16.
Oh, right.
So this is obviously referring, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, that the flying display yesterday was a little confused, and that was in partly because the French Prime Minister was on the site yesterday, and so they kind of, and with the weather as well, they sort of had a rescheduled.
Yeah, there was a kind of a mini display put on for his benefit entirely. So rather than kicking off with...
well, not entirely. Some other people would have enjoyed it also.
Rather than kicking off with like the pipistrelle or something like that, we kicked off with the A400M, all obviously a French Airbus aircraft, A400M and the Patrouille de France display team, and the Airbus colours, A380 went up as well, and the Dassault Rafale screaming around. I like to think, Graham, that he was sitting up in the control tower, just pointing down at the static, and can I see that one, please? And now I'd like to see that one over there. Make that fly.
Yeah.
make it fly now.
At the bottom of page 6 there.
Oh, hang on.
Oh no, hang on. There's more.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
At the bottom of page 6, screaming, very respectable suit there.
You almost don't recognise him,
normal stage gear. That is Iron Maiden lead singer Bruce Dickinson, who obviously people will be familiar, has a huge interest in aviation and is actually involved in it through the UK maintenance startup Cardiff Aviation. And he was in yeah, the whole thing is fabulous. He was in he was at Le Bourget yesterday, signing unveiling a contract, a big investment, £5 million investment into the company to expand that company and its operations there.
But that's not the only chance we're going to get to see him, is it, Graham?
I don't think so.
Yes.
We get very interesting people come through the Flight Global Chalet doors.
So the plan is for tomorrow for Bruce to come in and talk to Graham live on the show as an extra special guest. So that'll be good, won't it? Well worth tuning in for.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
The guy has to say. Okay, so moving on, we've got there's a piece on page 11. You can see that. That's just referencing there's a bit of a buzz around on electric taxi systems at the moment. Obviously very cost efficient, environmentally friendly, ticks the right boxes. And our very own Michael Goobish, that you all know from The Weather with Goobs, went out to see those guys, and we've got a video coming up in the pipeline on that. And what else have we got? Ah, yes, right. So here's a little bit tricky, DPS. So Doric has been really active in the A380 market.
Yeah, the Doric was a really interesting order there. Or no, it's not an order yet at this stage, has to be said, but commitment. Now for the A380, I mean that had very few. I think it's only 9. I think orders last year. Yeah, 9 A380 orders in 2012. It had none so far this year. It lost a bit of sales momentum. So it's a big order for Airbus. That's given us. You know, they've always remained confident in the aircraft, but you know, you do need commercial sales with it. So,
That's right. Yeah. It's good. It's good to see the aircraft selling. You know, been a bit quieter. And then so before we go back to that Embraer story, that big front page headline, just referencing. We talked briefly about the flight to Paris experience, and we've got that, and it's good to see. The boys back in the production department have been kind to me and they've given me a full page.
Yeah. I mean, you read most days in one form or another in the paper. That's 2 days running. Can you make it a third day?
I know.
I don't know how.
I've never hit these heights before.
Well, maybe one from tonight. Who knows?
So that's just a little recap of the blog post that I did, a bit of a diary. But we'll be showing more of those videos later, and of course it ties in really nicely with our crazy flights, our most memorable flights tweet-in that we've got going today. Your chance to win those Qatar tickets.
And the cover story, the big story yesterday was the Embraer and its E2, which is the new generation Embraer regional jet family, which it formally launched yesterday. It clocked up 365 commitments in one form or another, ILFC and SkyWest amongst them, which is in that sector really moves it onto the next stage, and with Bombardier and C Series, it becomes a really fascinating market setting up in that segment of the market.
Very competitive and excellent. And as promised, we've got a piece here from airline business editor Max Kingsley-Jones, looking more at that story.
Big news here at Paris on day one is the launch of the Embraer E2 E-Jet powered by Pratt & Whitney GTF engines. The aircraft will enter service in 2018, and we grabbed a few moments with Embraer CEO Fred Corrado to hear all about it.
Today we announced the launch of the E2 version of the E-Jets. It's the second generation of our E-Jets. There will be 3 aircraft comprised in that family. There will be the E175 E2, the E190 E2, the E195 E2s. The 175, we have an extra row compared to the current 175. The 190 is the same size. The 195, we have 3 extra rows compared to the existing 195s. I'm very happy to launch this aircraft family today with commitments between firm orders, options, and purchase rights and LOIs. We didn't have much time to go to the market, as you can imagine, but if you add all together, we have 365 commitments of different natures, different levels of commitment. But in the next few months, we expect really to turn many of those LOIs into firm contracts. On the technical side, we have new Pratt & Whitney pure power engines. We have different engines for the 175 and a different engine for the 190, 195. And we also have a different wing for the 175 and a wing for the 190, 195. As far as entry to service, the 190 E2 will be the first one to come into service in the first half of 2018. In 2019, we will have the 195 E2, and in 2020, we will have the 175 E2.
So from 2018, there's going to be even stiffer competition in the market for the C-Series, the A320neo, the MRJ, and the 737 MAX. Max Kingsley-Jones, Flight Global at the Paris Airshow. Big news.
And welcome back.
Welcome back. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Becky. Okay, so that's good stuff there today in the news. Plenty more news, no doubt, to come out of the show still.
Yeah, we'll be keeping you up to date as news develops across the afternoon, and press conferences going on as we speak, and our team of journalists are out and about. Every now and then they come rushing in to write a story, hopefully.
Yeah, looking hot and sweaty, which is not a sight you want to see. Okay, but before obviously we've got the flying display coming up, but as we said earlier, we're asking, where in the world are you watching? Where are you?
And you'll have noticed behind us.
The map.
Behind us, a map has appeared mysteriously. Now, this map has taken some treatment through the rain and the storm that happened.
Yeah, we didn't just find this in a dustbin out the back and stick it up. It was pristine 2 days ago. It's had the rain on. I found someone's handbag on it earlier. It's been stuck inside. Now it's stuck back here. But it's a trooper.
It's going to last the course.
Like our Raiders, it's a trooper. And you can see here that you've got various stickies, which are our attempts to locate you guys.
Yeah, very much, since Raider number 1 Rick in Lisbon was the first to sign in and put his stamp, his mark on the map. We've had, as you can see, it's filling up. Beautifully. We've had more. We've got more to add into the net.
Yeah, we've got some more here, Graham. You got that fella?
So we'll do the ceremonial
sticking.
There we have. Well, I might maybe had a sneak preview of this. This is all news to me. I called for Latin America. Now Cesar Mercado. A.
As opposed to B and C.
Yeah, well, they really had. From letting us know on Facebook, I sent greetings from Lima in Peru.
Greetings, Cesar.
Oh, I love that.
It's quite formal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Greetings. Right, Peru, Lima. Right.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yes. Good work. Right, number 2, Peter Jones, the
Dragon's Den,
the well-known shop owner. He says, we're doing.
He's
watching from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Apologies for the accent. Brizzy.
Oh, I know where Brizzy is.
Do you want to attach the Brizzy?
Yeah. Been to Brisbane many times. There you go. Well, twice. So,
who's next?
We have Ahmad Jamal, who's tuning in from Jeddah in Saudi Arabia.
Jeddah. I think we might have had him already, unless it might be his brother.
I don't know. I'm not sure that's the same one. No, I don't think we had Jeddah, you see, because I know it's...
I'm not sure where Jeddah is.
I can tell you that Jeddah is near the coast.
Which coast?
I think it's up there.
Right, we'll put him in the Gulf.
I have been to Jeddah. It's quite nice on the coast there.
Okay, so Old Man 166.
I mean, that really is old.
Perhaps does that mean he's 166?
166.
That is old. Good man.
On Twitter as well. Who knew?
Watching from the world headquarters of Boeing in St. Louis.
Hey, excellent.
Yeah. I assume that's St. Louis down here. Oh, there we are.
There we go. We have Ben 2145 or 2145. I'm watching live from Canada. Now that's Ben. If you have more details on exactly which bit of Canada, but
Yeah, where are you going to bet that Ben is?
well, on the grounds
small
we had
country.
we had Montreal before. I'm going to go across the way, and I'm going to Vancouver.
Vancouver.
I'm basing this on places in the world I've been, which I like, and Vancouver's very, very nice.
Okay, we've got Larry Every. That's a good name. Your show is cool. Keep the good. Keep the good.
Keep the good. Keep the good.
You keep the good, Larry.
Yeah, we like that a lot.
From Curaçao, in Dutch Caribbean.
Dutch Caribbean. Oh, this is fantastic.
Right.
Some of these places are fantastically exotic to
So the Dutch
to a
Caribbean.
boy who lives in High Wycombe like me.
I'm.
Yeah.
What do we think? What do we
It's a bit
think?
further out, I think. Well, it's in this ballpark there. It's around there.
Let's put him in.
Yeah.
Put him somewhere in the Caribbean Sea. Then.
Okay, so we have very similar. Courtney Deming viewing from Trinidad. Oh, gee, that's nice. That is nice.
That's nice. There we go. Trinidad and Tobago down there. Right, so we've got Ahmed Muhiddin. Apologies for the pronunciation. He's watching from Bangalore. Welcome. Bangalore. There we go. That's our second from Bangalore.
We have. I think we've had this one before. This is Olga 64. Hi from Russia. I like this. I'm waiting a good flight show again. I don't know if that means she's waiting for it or
She's still waiting.
when will you deliver a good flight show? But we have Olga there. She.
We had two guesses at Olga, didn't we?
Yes.
You went for Vladivostok.
Yeah, that's
and I went
right.
for Moscow.
So
if Olga, if you could confirm whereabouts in Russia, that would be fantastic.
But we do have Josh Begu, who's hello from Costa Rica. There's a huge amount of interest in this. So Costa Rica, that is going to be just up here, isn't it?
Costa Rica. Look at that. Okay.
We've had
Drysdale.
yeah.
We've definitely done Drysdale. Oh, but it gives us an update on where the location of
Yes,
Wodonga.
Wodonga. Oh, I think we've had that, haven't we?
There was some debate as to where Wodonga was,
Yeah,
and we located it about 300 miles north of East Melbourne. That's it. Yeah. Thank you for that information, that update.
We have Chan Hai. I'm watching from down under in Sydney. That's fantastic. We've got a few viewers from Australia. Again, I'm very envious.
Well, I think some of the guys watching the stream last night, some of the guys watched the recorded version, and so that was good for them. Obviously, time zone.
Yeah.
Time zone's difficult, so they were catching up. So if you're watching the recorded version, hi there. This is a recorded version.
and so obviously we've had Australia, we've had Trinidad, we've had Costa Rica, we've had the Dutch Caribbean, we've had Saudi Arabia, we had Bangalore, we've had
It's global.
we have Russia, and what else have we got?
Well, Nathan Gauntlet. He's running the gauntlet.
She's running the gauntlet.
Nathan watching from Solihull, England.
Very good, very good.
Brilliant. Right. It's up there. Fantastic. So if you want to get involved in that, that's where in the world. At PAS_live, PAS_live, or joining the social stream. We can see a few here. Somebody's popping up from Reykjavik. We'll add them in a minute and read that out. So thank you. Keep it coming. It's great to hear from you guys. Obviously, we're all building up that anticipation for the flying display in a minute. Well, in a minute. It's due up about 1:09, according to the French.
Okay, so 1:09 we're expecting. Do we know what's going to kick off the show? Have you any ideas, any feelings?
Well, I'll keep the suspense going for
Oh, you tease.
They tend to kick off. The plan is to kick off with some smaller, lighter stuff, but it might be of interest, and we'll get that. I think it's the APM Nala, maybe APM 50, but we'll get that. But talking of flying displays, yesterday we had a cracking flying display, didn't we?
Oh, it was brilliant.
It's brilliant and great seeing it from the Fleur camera in infrared, which is fantastic. So in case you missed any of the flying display from yesterday, we've got a bit of a highlights reel here for you with some very, very cheesy rock music to accompany it, chosen by myself. Well, welcome back. Well, cracking highlights there, Graham, from yesterday's display. Even though it was mixed up a bit and we didn't quite know what was going on, we still recorded some amazing footage.
You can, and you could see, I mean, the weather was quite mixed, I guess, across thing, which you can see a whole variety of stuff. But SU-35 is still, it's just...
What a monster. What a monster of an aircraft.
And not a quiet one.
No, not a quiet one. Actually, if you were watching yesterday, or if you're a bit eagle-eyed, you'll notice we've got the wall of sound here, and some little scribbles next to it. And this is our decibelometer. Did we settle on?
Decibelometer. And there's one too many syllables in that.
Well, it's a decibel reader, and we thought it'd be interesting. Having done this a few times, you know, we know these are loud aircraft, but just exactly how loud and who's the loudest?
And we had a couple of theories. One was either count how many car alarms went off, which is quite, but it can be difficult to actually authenticate that, and somebody could just be setting it off at the same time, accidentally do it, or we invest
This bad boy.
big budget.
So just to run the experiment that I ran yesterday, Graham, if you could just chat away.
Okay, so I'm going to talk normally, and this is a very normal sound voice, and I wouldn't expect it to be as loud as the SU-35.
Well, yeah, you're not far off. I guess there's a distance thing going on here, but Graham is actually 85 decibels loud. You're probably 85 decibels, and then you can see up here from the wall of sound that the SU-35 was actually about 30 decibels louder than Graham talking. 20 even, perhaps.
But I haven't set off any car alarms with voice alone.
With voice alone. So we've got some scribbles up here. So yesterday, the loud fellas were the SU-35 at 102.6 decibels, and we'll be recording him again today. And we had the Rafale that was the leader for a while, though, wasn't
That was the leader for a long time. It took it seemed a long time as to whether the SU-35 could get back up ahead.
He had to really pull it out at the end there, just as his final high-speed manoeuvre that he managed to squeak up the level.
And then the Yak 130. If there are any of the aircraft you particularly want to see us testing out the sound of, then we can put the decibelometer.
The decibelometer.
Or decimeter, the DIN.
The DIN recorder.
The tin recorder. We're still struggling on a name for this.
The DIN tin.
The DIN tin. Oh, DIN tin's not too bad. We'll get there at the end of the week. But if there are any you want us particularly to put it up against, we'll have a go and we'll see which is the loudest.
Right. Yes. Loud. So yes, tweets in about where in the world, but also the other thing we're asking you to tweet or comment about or get in touch via email is this whole memorable flight thing, because everyone's got a flight story. Everyone's done something. They've hit the ceiling during turbulence and injured themselves. They've had even Joan Collins had the orange juice tipped over. Oh, the Cinzano, wasn't it?
She had somebody been on board a flight with REM bassist or whatever it was. Road race.
So somebody else sat next to Tony Slattery. You know, these are all famous, memorable flights. One of our colleagues even met his wife by sitting next to her.
That's absolutely true. And that's the kind of thing, or maybe back in the days when you could jump seat rides. Don't think they're allowed those sorts of things. Or we're talking about flying a tiny aircraft through huge storms, that kind of thing.
That's right. There's a hashtag we're promoting, #crazy flights. I like to think in my head, it's a crazy, 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 crazy flights. You didn't join in there, Graham.
It's rather a shame you didn't keep that one to your head.
In the auditions, you were supposed to. Auditions, practices, rehearsals. That's we didn't do auditions for this. No, we were just the ones left over. Okay, so #crazy flights, and memorable flights. That's what we're talking about. Of course, I've had my very own memorable flight, which has been on that Pilatus PC-12 using the FLIR system all the way over from. Where was it? Manassas in Virginia, all the way over the Atlantic to here at Le Bourget, and
if you were with us yesterday, we showed
1 or 2 episodes, but I think we skipped the first episode. So you know, there's some interesting stuff there with the old turbulence, talking about turbulence. So you've got a chance to see that right now. This is Fleur's PC-12NG, and today we're going all National Lampoons and heading off on a European vacation. Over 130 aircraft are making the pilgrimage to Le Bourget at Paris this year for the show. For some it's a flight in, but for others it's slightly more complicated. Fleur's PC-12 is one of those, with lots of hops on the way to refuel. So we're just about to start off on the first leg of our journey from Manassas here in Virginia on the way up to Nashua in New Hampshire. As you can see, the Met is looking quite challenging out there. So we're going to fly a bit higher than we originally planned to, so we might not see all the sights we intended to see, but we'll have a good go. So fingers crossed, let's get going. We're just, you can see the squalls and the thick storms coming down, so we're just on a bit of a stop at the moment, see if we can get away in a clear space.
Our departure procedure out here today is out to the west, to the south over Casanova, and then around to the west side of Dulles Airport, and then continuing north across DC, and then up along the coastline.
Okay.
And right now, currently, there's ground stops here in Dulles.
Yeah, why is that?
DCA.
Why is that then, Ethan?
Well, because of the weather that you're looking at just off to our west. They're expecting at least a 1 hour delay at this point for the departure gates to open back up.
But we'll be okay. We'll get away though, won't we?
We will get away. We'll make our journey northbound.
Great. Okay, so we've got the all clear now from Manassas after those storms have cleared away. So hopefully this is second time lucky for us. Off we go. Flying around 21,000 feet at the moment due to the weather. We're up high, and as you can tell, in the words of Captain Ethan, it's got a bit bumpy. Normally we would be down around 10,000 feet to get those clear shots of the ground below, but alas, that's not the case today. Heavy stuff. But eventually we make it through the storms, and below us, looking resplendent in the sunshine, is the city of Boston. Sensor operator Jim makes use of the Star Sapphire's capabilities to show me the lasting effects of the Boston Marathon bombings. An impromptu memorial at Copley Square, where people have been coming to pay their respects to the victims of the two bomb attacks by leaving flowers and written tributes. Another reminder, the marathon finish line has been left in its position on Boylston Street. Away from the sombre side of things, Jim points out Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox baseball team. He demonstrates the power of the Fleur system by focusing in on the stadium, clearly visible as a groundsman attending to the pitch markings. And from our vantage point, there's a chance to take in some of the other city sights, Faneuil Hall Marketplace, and the Government Centre in downtown Boston. So, here we are, coming into Nashua, after a slightly bumpy ride, but as they say, all's well that ends well. So, well done, Captain Ethan. So here we are, safe and sound, on the ground in Nashua, completed our first leg of the flight to Paris. Good stuff. Welcome back. Yep. Talking of crazy flights, that was a crazy flight.
It did seem quite rough, I have to say. Was that? Well, you recovered after that?
There is another video of that bumpy bit on board. I left that running. I was doing it all on my iPhone, by the way. I left it running the whole time. I've got a full version of that, and my official demeanour. It's kind of, you saw behind the veil, behind the curtain there. I was looking a bit worried.
There wasn't any unguarded language.
No, there was very nearly some turning green, and it was a good one though, but one to remember.
Well, we're talking about crazy flights today. We're talking about how nuts, what's the maddest flight combination, either a commercial airline flight you've taken, or maybe kind of
corporate aviation,
like
general aviation.
And we had the first
crazy flights, by the way. #crazy flights.
Then you can get in touch with us. The first contribution on this, Paolo Cerruti, correct?
Cerruti,
that's much better. He's gonna get to Paris 13 on a Piper PA-28 all the way from Turin.
Whoa!
Now
that's a good flight into Paris. Wow, I like that one.
That's a proper good start.
Now remember, if you want to get involved, there is a motivation behind getting involved. Our good friends at Qatar have given us two flights to give away anywhere on the Qatar network as a prize for the best #crazy flights entry that we get.
And anyone who knows Qatar, they fly just about everywhere in the world now. They're massively expanding, so there must be somewhere.
Not so much crazy flights for Qatar, memorable flights.
Yeah, memorable.
It's just memorable is a longer word to use in a hashtag.
Yeah,
and obviously Qatar love they pride themselves on their flight experience and top class stuff. But talking about memorable flights and crazy flights, Graham, what have you got? Have you got any gems tucked away in there that you can tell us about?
Yeah, they're always. It's always quite difficult to fully pinpoint these. I've had a few which I have had a couple where I've had entire rows left to myself. That's not quite, sadly, that doesn't quite manage the entire cabin. If anyone has an entire cabin, if you've been on a flight where it was just you, especially if that's a commercial airline flight and you were the only one there, and that kind of thing, that's really interesting. I'm trying to think of some of the other great flights.
Well, we need to get Steve Trimble up here, don't we? Because he's got some stories. No doubt he'll be on a little bit later as our managing editor from the Americas office, and he seems to be a bit of a bad luck lightning rod, I think. We'll ask him. We'll get him out here and we'll ask him his crazy flights. He's coming up a bit later, so you can get involved in that, as you saw the details on the screen earlier. Now, obviously, many of you tuning in to watch the flying display, which is coming up shortly. So we'll just run through that there and give you an idea of the aircraft that are coming up. So we've got this taxiing demonstration that's probably gone ahead already, which was the electric taxiing system that was going on. But it's kicking off about 1:10, 1:09, I think. It's the APM Nala that's coming up, light aircraft. Then we've got, interestingly named, Pipistrel Virus, I believe it's pronounced.
Virus.
But it's spelled virus.
Virus.
Yeah. Then that's followed by an extra 300. That may be the one piloted, I'm not quite sure, because they didn't say which of the aircraft, but there's one piloted by Catherine Manuri, who's a French female aerobatic instructor. I saw the demo yesterday, very good. Then we got the Swift at 133. And then we've got an extreme air aircraft, the XA-41, a few minutes after that.
And we'll obviously be keeping you up to date with these throughout the show, so don't worry. We'll make sure you keep knowing when the schedule, what's coming up next.
That's right. You're singing it up there now. We've got Ricardo behind the scenes to flash it up. We've got the Yak 130, so that's the first of the really noisy ones. The trainer, he's already up there.
He's on the board.
Can he beat his personal best of 98.9
his PB of 98.9.
Then we've got another extra 300, so that might be, we'll see which one that is.
An extra 300.
I like it.
See what I've done.
Then is it I think it's the SU-35 after that, the big ticket item.
So what sort of time are we talking? SU-35? That's going to be
at 2 o'clock. Yeah, that's 2 o'clock. So if you've got to nip out, take the bins out, walk the dog.
You've got to nip out. Don't nip out during that.
2 o'clock.
That is well worth watching.
And another one to watch, the 2:13, the Airbus A380. Obviously, these times are in Central European time, so check your time zones if you're watching around the world, which many of you are.
Oh, if only we knew. Had some way of tracking that.
222, another big dog. It's the Airbus A400 Atlas. Nice, great display, that one. Yeah. Then an interesting helicopter, a twin counter-rotating helicopter, the Kamov KA-52 Alligator.
Mm-hmm.
Then Graham's favourite,
The Ziggy Starduster.
the Ziggy Starduster. Then again, another one for the PB board.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming away. Must be the heat. The Rafale is coming up. Is that 255? I believe 255 for the Rafale. Then we've got the Tiger, the helicopter, Eurocopter Tiger coming up after that one, and then the Fouga.
The Fouga.
Fouga. That's the best named aircraft here.
Fouga.
Then we got 330, another one to tune in for, the 787, the Air India 787.
Oh, fabulous.
And after that we have. Then we've got the Sikorsky Black Hawk and the LH Aviation aircraft to close the display. So that's what you've got to look forward to.
It's running, so for around the best part of 3 hours, we think, closing around about 4 o'clock or so. But we keep you up to date throughout this as it goes by. And it's those of you who will have noticed me sweltering here and sweating here will have noticed that it is quite hot here today. Now, who would have thought? Who could possibly have known? No, only one man. It's the weather with Goobs.
Yeah, but before we start with the weather, we need to verify or actually correct. It's actually called a Fuga Magista. You know, it's a 1950s or late 1940s French trainer, beautiful aircraft with a V-tail. You don't see that very often nowadays. And I think probably one of the most elegant jet trainers ever made. But anyway.
You're a weatherman. You're a weatherman.
Well, that's what you tell me that I am, but
you are a trained meteorologist, aren't you?
Of course,
yeah,
of course,
fine.
One of my many talents. No, it's another day of KVOC, cloud and visibility, or K that is in pilot speak. There is some cloud up there, but I think above 5,000 meters, 5,000 feet. So we should be able to see the aeroplanes, and the pilots should be able to see us as we stand down here.
Can they? How closely can they see when they're coming out down?
I don't know. There was today, though, there is an interesting thing. The temperature and dew point are quite far apart. That means that the air is not quite saturated with humidity. Yesterday it was much closer together, and you got these beautiful condensations, you know, when the aircraft pulled up and you saw over the wing some cloud forming. That we might see that as well with the more dramatic displays this today, but yesterday you could see it even on the big aeroplanes, and I think that was the reason, because the dew point and the temperature were quite close together. Anyway, just very little wind today, so the pilots shouldn't be too offset when they take off. There shouldn't be too much wind from the side that puts them off track, and we should be able to enjoy it. But tonight, again, probability 30%, thunder, and you might have to take your umbrella with you.
The Goobs, thank you very much.
Pleasure, as always.
So there you go, proper meteorological, and actually that was proper weather. The Goobs has been doing some proper research on this in between. That's fabulous. So we're going to be keeping you up to date with everything across the show coming up this afternoon. Remember to tweet in, let us know where you are in the world, let us know your craziest, your most memorable, your maddest flights. You know how to get hold of us. Do keep that information coming to us. But in between, we're just going to leave you with a few pictures of the flying display. Oh, breaking news! Breaking news. Michael is joining us back here.
I've got more crazy flights. Just bear with me a second while I
Fabulous.
I get my talk back on. So I can.
Okay. Yes. AJ Malam, 51, Jeddah, I think. I had a crazy flight by sitting in an extra 300 and then vomiting in it.
What was that?
Sitting in an extra 300. Well, I guess if you have been chucked about a bit, that would be.
Yeah, well, if you've seen, we've got a couple of extra 300s in the display, and if you, yeah, they do some crazy stuff, and then vomiting in it. All right, lovely.
If you want to do if you want to do Ashan there, second one down.
Ashan Kurunagaran, I think. Hopefully that's all right. Hi from Sydney.
Another in Australia.
Most memorable flight, he says. The final Singapore Airlines 747 flight, SQ747, from Singapore to Hong Kong last year. We covered that, I think.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a great one, a land makes.
That's fabulous. We've got another here from FSX 737-200.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm enjoying that. Mine was
He's a fan of that particular model.
Mine was doing aerobatics in bumpy turbulence at the ex-RAF Warbird, ex-RAF Warbird. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the Royal Australian Air Force, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Right, here we go. Watching from Mars with Buzz. All right, brilliant, love it. So great, yeah. Keep your most memorable crazy flights coming in. Thanks, Becky. To be in with a chance to win those Qatar tickets anywhere on the Qatar network, and we're very much enjoying the ones that are coming in at the moment. Now, to give Graham and I a chance to get a glass of water and not keel over from the sun, and generally tee up the flying display, which is coming up momentarily, we'll just leave you with some nice images. I think you can enjoy some images now from the Star Sapphire 380 HD, just showing you a bit of atmosphere around the Paris Air Show. Oh, welcome back. I think you caught a sneak glimpse of us there up on the Star Sapphire system. It's nice to be on camera, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Perhaps not quite in high definition when you're standing in 32 degrees sun.
It is quite hot out here. Both me and Michael have had some emergency cream.
Yes, I know many of you are worried about that, well, perhaps you're tuning in to see a man keel over in the sunshine. But we'll battle on. You know, we had the rain yesterday, got the sun today. You know, we're troopers.
It's certainly been up and down, up and down. Oh shit! Yeah, there we go. So. We've been running this all week, and we're continuing to run it. We're really interested in trying to find out where everyone is watching the programme from, where they're watching the flying display from, maybe what you're doing as well. And we've got more to add in. Firstly, via Twitter, Bilal Ashraf, watching from Lahore in Pakistan.
Lahore in Pakistan?
I think that's our first.
From Pakistan, I think.
Viewer from Pakistan.
Lahore, there we are.
Okay.
Well, what's next? We've got... Oh yes, we did do, didn't we? Ashan Nagaran. He was from Sydney. We didn't put
Sydney. We didn't put the Sydney sticker on.
Put a sticker on.
Michael Troutman. He contacted us via Ustream here from down south in South Africa. I love it. I love it. That is our first sub-Saharan.
Well done. I'm going to put him down in Cape Town. Down there. Welcome. Right, then we've got, who's next?
Wheels Down, is it?
Wheels Down, watching from Mars, yes, thank you. Edu Airlines, enjoying the show from Madrid in Spain. There we go.
That's our first from Spain on the map. House of Miguel. Is that like House of Fraser?
House of Miguel.
I'm not sure.
Who was watching last night on the recorded version, so... Welcome and hello. Thanks for your comments.
Watching from Portugal, and we like this Jason Rowe photo. What did you say?
Jason Rowe photo.
Watching from a hot and sunny Odessa in Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine!
That is fabulous.
Whereabouts in Odessa is? Whereabouts in Ukraine is Odessa?
That's a good question. I think it is further right. I think it's towards the border.
Let's put him here. Correct us if we're wrong. Right, so keep those coming in. Of course, the crazy flights, #crazyflights, most memorable flight experiences. We want those as well. There's 2 tickets on the Qatar network to give away there to the best answer. We're reading those out, and we're looking forward to having those coming in.
Just for people who might be joining us at any time across the show, just a quick update on some things that have been happening here at the show. 787-10 launched as the latest variant of the Boeing 787 family. Now that's been formally launched this morning here in Paris at Le Bourget. 5 customers, initial customers for that. There's Singapore Airlines, they're going to take 30 of the type. IAG, whether it be British Airways, I think, are going to take 12. United are taking 10. They've also, that's 10 new orders. They're going to take another 10. They're switching 10 of their existing 787 orders round into the Dash 10, so they'll have 20 of those in total. GCAS, the aircraft lessor, this was announced yesterday before the aircraft was launched, taking 10, and ALC, which is Stephen Udvar Hazy's lessor, they're taking 30 of the type. So big news here at the show.
So news pouring in, and we'll keep bringing you any breaking headlines as we get them. Today is certainly has that busy feel to it, doesn't it? The chalet here is really busy. There's lots of meetings going on. We've been up the Static. That was crowded and busy. Yesterday, I think everyone's sort of hunkering down, getting themselves sorted out, trying to keep out of the weather. Whereas today, it's all systems go. Now, if you're wondering what the rest of the show is like, and you're thinking, hang on, I'd quite like to know what it's like around and about the Paris Air Show. Don't worry, Graham and I will be in shows for tomorrow and Thursday, doing a bit of a walk around and checking out some of the more interesting and colourful sites.
They're gonna let us out of the chalet, which we've largely been nailed to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we're hoping to bring some some bits and bobs, some treats around there. There's always something interesting on the static. Of having walked up and down it a couple of times, there's millions of aircraft, well not millions, there's 130 aircraft out there, and some really interesting sights. So we'll bring you some flavour of that as well. So don't worry about that. That'll be good stuff. But we're watching the aircraft display now. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of that. And we've just got the Nala taking off at the moment, another light aircraft. We've got a few of those to kick it off before we get into the big bad boys and the noisy ones.
The noisy
with the wall
fellas.
of sound. So we've got all of that to look forward to at the moment. And we've got some of our journalists hopefully will be joining us to give further insight into the machines that we're seeing in the air.
Yeah, so we try and obviously the journalists are busy at the show covering the stories in the various sense, but we try to bring them. We had Craig Hoyle, defence editor from Flight International. He joined us yesterday, and gives a bit of an insight and took us a bit through the flying displays itself and a bit about the program itself. So and we'll be doing more of that across today.
That's right. Yeah, we've got some special guests in the shape of our journalists, our very own journalists, because these guys they cover individual beats and programs, so they're really close to the subject matter. So, speaking of which, why don't we bring one such special guest in?
Hello.
So I'm joined by Stephen Trimble once again. Viewers who tuned in yesterday will remember Steve. Welcome, Steve.
That's right, yeah. Glad to be back.
Oh, thank you very much. Steve was talking about the 787 yesterday, a large wide-body airliner making a splash. But today you're going to be talking, well, in this segment, going to be talking about something a little bit smaller than the 787. What is it we're going to discuss now?
Well, this is the Pipistrel. I think it's the virus.
Is that how you pronounce it? I wasn't
sure.
Yeah,
it looks like virus to an American or Englishman, but it's actually pronounced virus with the Slovenians. It's a Slovenian company. And it's a very small aircraft. It's in the light sport category. So we're talking maybe 1,200 pounds total gross weight. But it's a very special aircraft in that category. It's done some remarkable things. We're actually tonight at our Flight Global Achievement Awards. The Aviator of the Year happens to be a pilot who took this very aircraft around the world, actually for a second time. This was the second circumnavigation of the world in this aircraft.
Okay, well, there's a clue there, but we won't give away his name quite yet because obviously we haven't revealed the winners, Stephen.
Sorry. May have given away something there.
I think we got away with it. Don't worry. Right, so the aircraft, yeah, very interesting. I think you can see it now, although we're struggling because we've got our.
It's a bit quiet.
All aboard. Oh, there we go. We can see it on the Fleur Star Sapphire 380. So we've had a few of these light aircraft displaying at the moment. Why do you think we see? Because often people associate the airshow displays with the loud stuff or the big stuff, but Paris is always something small and innovative being displayed. Do you think people they're interested in this style of stuff?
I mean, this is a huge part of aviation right now, and it's important and perfectly appropriate that it's represented at the Paris Airshow. There's an entire category of aircraft called the light sport category in Europe and in the United States, and in the U.S. the rules are allow pilots only with a driver's license, not even with some pilot training, but not nearly the kind of specialized training that most instrumented pilots and pilots of larger aircraft would be required to have. So it just opens up aviation to a much broader market than normal.
Yeah. So the virus, and I believe they build another aircraft with an interesting name as well, don't they?
Yeah, it's the Sinus, or as they call it, the Sinus. And
what's the difference between the virus and the Sinus?
The virus has a shorter wing. In fact, when this aircraft we're seeing, part of the designation of the aircraft is SW for short wing, and the Sinus has a longer wingspan. They're just very efficient aircraft. They're very environmentally friendly. Not a lot of emissions, even for their size and in their category. Obviously, compared to a 787, they definitely drink less fuel but even in the light sport category, these are very efficient aircraft.
Excellent. And so give us an idea of some of the other aircraft that might be in the same sort of category that are proving popular or in being developed at the moment. If I'm not putting you on the spot there, Steve.
Yeah, sorry. There's quite a variety of aircraft in the light sport category. I mean, it's hard to single out any particular one, but I mean, they're really being made all over the world. And the Czech Republic, Eastern Europe actually has just dozens and dozens of these designs coming out right now. In the United States, you see them popping up in places like Brazil. That's the other thing about this category of aircraft is that there's just not the kind of entry, barriers to entry into this part of the market. So, if you have aircraft design skills, it's very easy to apply them in this part of the market. Probably the most famous example of that is Burt Rutan.
That's right. Yeah.
He sort of invented the category before it really existed with the easy and the very easy aircraft, very distinctive aircraft, and he used that as a platform really to develop his more innovative, or at least as equally innovative aircraft in other categories, whether they were spacecraft or military aircraft or high altitude, other things like that. So it's
Burt Rutan. Good link, actually. Burt Rutan, another person that's been one of our previous achievement awards, speaking inspirationally about. I remember one of his quotes was something like, "Man's barrier to innovation is only held back by cheap, unlimited or cheap access to fuel." And something else, but he was.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, it was 2011 at Dubai Airshow. I think was
that's
when
right.
he got the award. We gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's right.
And I was very happy that we did that. I thought he had done quite a bit for aviation, and for this particular category of aviation too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Steve. That was some great insight. Hopefully, we'll speak a little bit later about some other aircraft that are flying. You've already offered your thoughts on the 787, and I'm sure people will be keen to hear some more insight from there.
All right.
So thank you very much for joining us.
No, thanks a lot.
I'll take that. So we're enjoying the extra 300 flying in the sky at the moment. This aircraft is very, very manoeuvrable. Performs some really dramatic manoeuvres. Look, you can see it there, literally hanging in the air under its highly manoeuvrable, high power to weight ratio. I believe this is the aircraft piloted by Catherine Manuri, a French female aerobatic instructor. And she works here at Le Bourget, funnily enough, at the Aerospace Museum. Aerospace Museum is some interesting stuff. I had a chance to look around there actually today, and they open the museum. It's free to enter for people who come to the Paris Air Show, and and inside it's fantastic. There's some really old stuff, right back to the dawn of aviation. Really, we've got famously Blériot's number 11 aircraft, which was one of the first aircraft developed. It was funnily enough displayed back here at the Paris Air Show, the original Paris Air Show back in 1909 at the Grand Palais down by the Seine. And they've got some other fantastic references to the history of aviation in there as well. Well worth a visit. I'm joined back by Graham Dunn.
Hi, Michael.
You're looking a little bit more refreshed, actually. Obviously, your little break of 10 minutes inside has helped you out.
Are you perhaps less refreshed?
I can barely hold on to the microphone.
It is. I mean, it has been hot at Paris before, but it is sweltering today here. I'm not quite sure why. Which is our problem, I know, not yours. But it does explain why at various times we look quite red and
Yes.
and hot. But yeah, so it's a busy time. Now I have there's several things that have been running. One of the things, of course, is a bit of where everyone is in the world watching us. And that's more where in the world. We can't get enough of these. So and I had no idea that in Australia there's such a following here. So Astro Spud.
Astro Spud. What a great name.
I think that is a fabulous name. On Facebook, watching from Adelaide in South Australia.
Adelaide, welcome. That's our first from Adelaide.
First from Adelaide. We have beneath that
Ajali. Hello from Qatar. So one of our friends in Qatar. Of course, we're giving away those tickets on the Qatar Airways for the best crazy memorable flight. So Qatar, I think, is buried under this line here. Right.
Yeah, there's a bit of action there. Bertrand Thomas, hi from Columbus, France, just a few miles from Le Bourget. When the Sukhoi flies, I can clearly hear it, loud.
Loud, yeah, that loud.
Oh yeah, no, that's yes, yeah. We'd actually love to hear from anyone else who is, how close are you to the airshow? How far away from the airshow, and still able to hear the noise?
Okay, we've got
Kovac, I think. Oh no, that's
we've got Nathan Gauntlet, who just says, at Fly Global, Nathan here from last year, looking forward to the show and listening to you too. Well, welcome back, Nathan. I've spotted a few familiar Twitter handles and names, actually, so it's good that people are tuning in.
Yes, we're seeing some returning friends. And Helmut on the email. Your show's The Ripper.
The Ripper, mate.
Ripper. So, contrasting styles there. It's either Helmut or Ripper, mate. And I'm watching
the Jack the Ripper sense. I'm sure.
I'm watching from Munich, Germany. Really enjoying the coverage. Thanks a lot. And
there we go.
So there we go. That's and when you look at, I don't know if Becky is able to show the map just as it's going on the map. We really now have a huge number of countries covered. We have, I think, pretty much. Continent-wise, we're there.
Still nobody from Greenland, not this continent.
The Greenland audience has been disappointing, but as you can see, Canada, the US, Guatemala, we've got a lot of action around the Caribbean, the West Indies kind of area. Peru in Latin America, when we move with Iceland in Europe, the UK, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, a lot of interest in Portugal. We move across to, we've been spreading slightly east towards Ukraine, Russia.
A lot of people in the Gulf, of course.
A lot of people in the Gulf, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia, in the Emirates, in Qatar. In Africa,
I'd like to see someone from the centre of Africa.
Because we have, of course, Morocco up here in North Africa, and then in South Africa. But there's still quite a gap there. And then as you spread across, this is more like weather with goobs. As you spread across towards the east, we have. We have in Pakistan, in India, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, Jakarta, Indonesia, and then of course we've made it out into Japan, and of course Australia. So I mean, we will do the count up of the number of the countries that we covered, but I'm thinking I must be getting on for 30 or so now.
Do we have any more? Were there any more that we haven't read out there?
I think that's the.
That's the Ripper.
I think that's now because the other thing we've been talking about is memorable flights. Crazy flights, or unusual flights, whatever it is. And we've got one here from Kovac, Philip Coe.
Oh, yes.
From Australia.
He says, hello, I'm in Australia. I can't help but do the accent badly. My most memorable flight was when I flew from Singapore to Hong Kong on the last Singapore 747 flight. Oh, yes, so we had someone else saying that. SQ had an amazing commemoration at the gate and on board with celebrations and giveaways. I designed my own farewell 747 t-shirt, which I wore and got a lot of media attention. It was amazing. The flight was on the 6th of April 2012. Unbelievable experience. Now that must have been a great experience, actually. That last ever goodbye flight for the Singapore 747.
First and last flights are always quite emotional. I've done one or two inaugurals, and there's a good sort of kind of fun spirit with that. The airlines quite often are trying to, very keen to promote that. You might find kind of there'll be a send-off at the airport itself, so always entertaining.
So talking about inaugurals, we have obviously a new airliner in production at the moment, not production but in test phase, the A350, Airbus's new wide-body aircraft, extra wide-body in fact. as per the name. And that there's been a bit of a will it, won't it fly at the show kind of theme going on. It doesn't look like it will, or if it does do a flyby, that might be on Friday. But however, we've been talking to Airbus at the show about where they are with the aircraft and the flight program and what's coming up. So now I think you've got a chance to see Max Kingsley-Jones as he caught up with Airbus about that aircraft.
I'm here in the cockpit of the A350, not the real one, but the mock-up at the Paris Airshow. We caught up with the A350 Chief Engineer Gordon McConnell to hear how that first flight went on Friday and how the flight test program will pan out over the next year or so.
We had a tremendously successful first flight on Friday, very exciting for, of course, all the engineers in the program. So we're 4 hours into the flight test program already. On Friday we got to 25,000 feet with the aircraft Mach 0.8, looking at handling qualities and flight control checks. So we completed all the points we wanted to on the first flight. So this marks the start of 2,500 hour flight test program up to certification, with 5 aircraft in the program. MSN-1 will be joined in the autumn by the second heavy instrumented flight test airplane, MSN-3, and then after that we'll have the first cabin airplane, which is actually MSN-2. We'll join the flight test program as well, and that'll be very important because it's the first time we'll really be able to evaluate the cabin systems and the cabin comfort of the aircraft, so that'll be an exciting day as well. So then after that we'll have 2 more aircraft in the flight test program, MSN-4 and 5. MSN-4 is going to do the noise flight testing, and MSN-5 will be devoted to ETOPS and reliability flying. So this test program will culminate in the certification in the second half of next year, before we deliver to our first customer, Qatar.
So all being well, when we gather at the next air show in Farnborough a year from now, the A350 will be very close to going into service with Qatar Airways. Max Kingsley-Jones, Flight Global at the Paris Air Show.
There we go, and another note to self, remember the linen suit next year.
I have got a linen suit with me. I might rock it out.
You made the mistake, you should have had a linen suit.
Well, my only problem is that that I don't know if anyone who has been and stayed in hotels in France can confirm that this is the case, but I've always had trauma with ironing in French hotels.
So,
there's never an iron in the room. When you ask someone, there isn't one. There may be a communal ironing room that has the most inefficient and
but we're not giving anything away here. But in our hotel, I actually followed Michael's fabulous trick of yesterday. Having thought I should make an effort to iron my shirts. There's no ironing board in the room, so in order to do the ironing, you had to. They set it up for me downstairs, and it was about sort of midnight last night. I was ironing in the kitchen. In the kitchen,
the hotel kitchen, which I did. The first night, of course, thinking ahead, I thought, well, phone down. Could I have an iron, please? Yes, sir. So what room number? I gave them my room number. Duly, up came the iron, and ironed one shirt. I only had time to iron one shirt, and I thought, well, I've got at least 5 shirts to iron here, so and I know what they're like with these irons. I'll hide it in my closet, which I duly did. Came back the next day. They'd gone through my closet and taken it out again. It was obviously the hunt for the iron. But I've never had a good experience with ironing in France. Of course, the linen suit, of course, it doesn't matter how well you iron it before you leave. It's getting creased.
Well, I mean,
you just got to look at it.
I've always taken the view I couldn't carry the linen suit off for that reason. I can't manage to make a normal suit not creased, let alone a linen suit.
Perhaps I'll rock out the linen suit tomorrow and give everyone a treat and see what people think.
But in fact, oddly, I always judge a hotel by the good hotels by whether they have an ironing board in the room. That makes a huge difference.
Oh, so it relaxes me as soon as I get into the room. It's the first thing I check for. Where's that? Oh, yes, thank goodness. That's good. So I think we're just running through the flying display schedule on screen at the moment for you, so you can see where we are.
And certainly a quick a heads up and reminder, 2 o'clock, at about 2 o'clock we're expecting the SU-35, so do make sure, whatever you do, if you make a cup of tea now or you know, send off that important work email, make sure the boss doesn't know. 2 o'clock, try and set a little window aside for the SU-35. We'll be having that one live here.
Cracker to look forward to. Now, it's we've been looking at talking about flights, memorable flights, crazy flights, and getting your tweets in, a chance to win those Qatar tickets. All stemmed from the fact that I had my own memorable flight on the Pilatus PC-12 over from America to Le Bourget here. You've seen episode 1 with the storms, and it's time for episode 2. So here you go. We depart here in Nashua on the second leg of our flight to Paris. We've got 2 refuelling stops and over 2,000 nautical miles to cover, much of that over the North Atlantic. And as well trodden as the route is for small aircraft, preparation is key. I've been catching up with pilot Ethan and operator Jim on what they have to do to prepare the PC-12 for such a journey.
Well, it started off a couple months ago when we started planning the routing and what type of hours we'd be putting on the aircraft before or during the trip, and we make sure that the aircraft comes fresh out of inspection, so it'll have 100 to 150 hours of available flight time for the demo tour in the Paris Airshow before it needs to go back into maintenance. So today we've made the final system preparations and loaded the aircraft with the recorder, any of the mission equipment that will be required for the trip once we get to our demo locations. Aircraft-wise, we've loaded up a couple extra quarts of oil, fuel additive called Prist or Fizzy, which is added to ensure that we don't have any ice collect in the fuel while we're up at altitude. Throughout the last 10 days, we've been taking a close look at the detailed forecast for any fronts moving through. If there was a lot of headwind headed eastbound, then we'd need to maybe adjust our departure schedule. Maybe we should have gone yesterday, but right now it looks like we're going to have a tailwind all the way across the Atlantic after we depart out of Goose Bay. We're planning on stopping in Narsarsuaq, Greenland, and then on to Reykjavik for the night. You know, we are paying attention to a small disturbance just off the coast of Greenland. If it's going to be icy conditions or snow in the forecast, we may forego that stop, and the aircraft can make it non-stop from Goose Bay to Reykjavik, Iceland.
To get ready for the trip, we had to install the sensor, the 380 sensor, the cabling for that, monitors for viewing for customer demos, and recorders. It was a busy day trying to get everything straightened out for the trip over, so final preparations. We had to reinstall some other equipment like the downlink, a new recorder that we just got back that was upgraded from Ampex Corporation, which allows us to record in a 1080p, and a small CDMA SD card, so which is really nice. Well, it's going to be long, I'll say that, and we'll have to wear special survival suits from point A to point B, and they call them Gumby suits or poopy suits. So not looking forward to that because they're pretty warm, but keeps you alive in cold water when you land. If you have to land in a cold area, that's fine with me.
Well, there's a foggy start forecast for tomorrow morning, but there's some good news. Some of the more challenging weather systems around Narsarsuaq in Greenland seem to be moving away, so we might get a good chance of landing there. But either way, I know I'm in good hands with the preparations that Jim and Ethan have put in today. Well, that's episode 2 of my exciting flight. We were preparing for the Atlantic crossing there.
Sadly, I don't want to give too much away before we get to the end of it, but you obviously got here.
I obviously got here.
I was called flight to Paris, and you're standing here in Paris, so spoiler alert.
It was a bit of a spoiler.
Michael Toggett
the drama.
did get to Paris.
Yeah, so we'll have more of that during this show and tomorrow and the next day. So sorry about that.
Astro's put a great message. He's suggested to us that we could do with some shade. It looks quite warm over there, but not South Australia warm, which I can imagine is something on this, but it is quite warm.
It is very warm. So you're watching the Extreme Air doing its manoeuvres now, quite incredible. It spins and twists, very enjoyable. So we're going to leave you with these lovely images of the aerial display, but we'll be back with
coming back with
a
couple of the big guns. We're coming back with
on the Yak 130.
The Yak 130, and then stay tuned for SU-35 after that.
So we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so.
10 minutes.
What's the video agenda and who do I speak to?
Okay, we're watching the images of the Yak 130 there, and very timely. I'm joined by the managing editor of our Asia office in Singapore, Greg Waldron.
Good to be here.
Well, welcome. There's a welcome.
Yeah, it's very good to be here today. Great show so far.
It is good, isn't it? It's going from extreme to extreme. We had the weather yesterday, we've got the weather today, a different sort, and we've got a fine selection of aircraft to look at. Now, Greg, you've got a broad range of expertise in aviation, and tell us about the aircraft that we're watching now.
Well, the Yak 130 originated in the 1980s, 1990s as a high-performance trainer for the Russian Air Force, and it's designed to be able to transition pilots from a basic aircraft, a propeller-driven aircraft, and get them ready for going into fast jets such as the Su-27 and Su-30 and the MiGs that make up the bulk of the Russian Air Force, of course.
Excellent. If I look a bit distracted, Greg, fear not. I'm holding in my hand the decibelmeter, a decibel reader. So we've just been, we've got our wall of sound here about how loud actually these aircraft are from the chalet. So I've just set it to max reading. I've got it at, so far he's clocked up 95.4 decibels, but I'm sure he can beat that. His best yesterday was 98.9.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good. Maybe it'll break 100, but I don't think it's ever going to get up there with the Su-35. The Su-35 is a real fighter plane. That's a monster.
Yeah, we've got that coming up next, of course, and hopefully Greg will stick around to tell us about that aircraft as well, because it's shaping up to be a real show stealer.
It is indeed. Now, the Yak 130, though, it has a number of, I guess, comparable aircraft around the world. The T-50 in Korea, which is based on the American F-16, and also the M346 made by Alenia. And there's some question about the affordability. These aircraft are so advanced and so technically capable and so powerful and very costly, no doubt. So some air forces are balking at the price of these planes, such as the United States. Like, they've had the T-38 since the 1960s, and they're really delaying moving into the TX because these aircraft are almost as expensive as the fighters were 20 years ago.
Well, that's right. So what are their options if they don't want to replace their training fleet with something as expensive as this aircraft?
Well, there's always a chance of perhaps using more simulator training. But of course, simulator training does not give you the exposure to the high G that you're going to get in a high-performance jet aircraft. I mean, these training aircraft can more or less simulate true combat missions. You get the high G, you can network them with other aircraft and on the ground, and you can actually simulate real warfare. And since so much of warfare these days is conducted at beyond visual range, you can use these types to simulate very real conditions.
Oh,
Brilliant, 99.3.
He's that close to breaking his
Yeah,
tongue.
he broke its target.
He's on his personal
Yeah.
best. Can he get that 100 up?
I hope so. We should have talked to the pilot. He could have come a bit lower maybe and the full afterburner and probably done that.
That's great. Yeah. So yeah, what is it like inside when you've got those missions? Where are you? So presumably the trainee pilot's sitting in front.
The instructor's in the back, and the idea with this type of aircraft is you give the guy in the front the feel that he's alone in the aircraft. A lot of trainers in the old days would be side by side, and that's a more comfortable experience. You got somebody next to you if something's going wrong. So psychologically, you feel like you're with somebody. If somebody's in the back seat, that gives you a much more realistic environment. And also the screens, the heads-up display, and even the helmets can be adjusted so it actually feels like you're riding a real fighter. So you can press a button and it's as if a real missile launches off. So you can actually do virtual engagements. And that's a very big business for like the Israelis, and the US has systems like that too.
So I know some of these trainers have interchangeable avionics systems, or the configuration can be adapted to look and feel like the aircraft that they're training to fly.
Indeed.
Is this the same thing for the Yak 130?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I haven't yet to see the inside of the Yak 130's cockpit, but I'd imagine it would closely replicate what a pilot will find climbing into a Soviet type, such as the Su-27, the Su-35, which we'll see next. So it won't be such a radical jump from that propeller-driven basic trainer to that fast jet.
Right, okay. Well, the Yak 130 is coming to land, so let's update his personal best. If you could just hold that for
99.3.
99.3.
Very impressive.
Do you like my little drawing of the Yak 130 there? Do you think
it's pretty good.
Close to it?
It has a lot of guns for the Yak 130, but nonetheless, the wing-mounted guns, or those missiles. I like the Rafale. Su-27 looks like a bird.
It looks a bit like a strange duck, doesn't it? I might have to update
that
one. The one yesterday, I did one yesterday. It was
some sort of flying porpoise, perhaps.
A flying porpoise.
Yes.
Interesting. So we should be teeing up now for the Su-35. Now this aircraft. It's the first time I've seen this aircraft fly at an air show, and it's nice that it's in the display because you always want, along with the Rafale, of course, you always want one of those real cutting-edge fighters to steal the show. And without the US aircraft here, fighter aircraft, somebody had to fill that void. And we haven't got the Typhoon either.
No Typhoon this year either.
No Typhoon.
There's only a few fast, real fighter jets in the show. The Rafale, which is always here, and the Su-35, which is here for it's the first Russian fighter to appear here since 1999. So
it's interesting. We've seen it flying. So we've seen it flying, several times throughout the week. We saw it validate and saw it display yesterday. The conditions looking pretty good for it today.
Oh yeah.
So we should see a great display. And what we've seen so far, I never get tired of seeing those crazy manoeuvres. How is it able to do those upside down manoeuvres that we're going to see in a short time?
One word: power.
Power.
The sheer brute power. And the Su-35 is essentially an evolution of the Su-27. In fact, I believe the Russians, they still call that aircraft the Su-27, and it's a very successful range of fighters, similar to the American F-15 range. There's all these different variants of the F-15 over the years, similar to the Russian Su-27. And one of the big lessons that the Americans learned in Vietnam was that you really need a very high power-to-weight ratio, and that's how you win those high-energy maneuvering air battles. You're able to, you have a power-to-weight ratio where the actual thrust produced is greater than the actual weight of the aircraft. So these aircraft can accelerate past the speed of sound straight up. And that kind of power, and of course it took the Russians a bit longer to get around to that, but the Sukhois, the Su-27 to Su-35, have that amazing power-to-weight ratio that we first were seeing in aircraft like the F-16 and the F-15 in the 1970s and 80s in the U.S. Air Force.
Right. Well, actually, funnily enough, we're hearing that maybe there's been a change to the schedule. We're seeing the A380.
Yeah, it's definitely not the Su-35.
It's got the wrong profile, surely. Now, it may be that they're just manoeuvring the A380 out there because it needs to get ready.
Yeah.
It is due to fly after the Su-35, so it may be that that's what we're seeing. But if there's a change in the schedule, well, we'll just talk about whatever aircraft is in the air.
That's right.
Well, we like that.
Well, the A380 is an interesting aircraft. It's in a way it's struggled, I think, to win overseas customers. I cover the Asia Pacific markets, and out there it's won some success with airlines like Singapore Airlines. It's won some success with Qantas, but in a lot of those major routes, the true replacement of the 747 has actually been the 777-300ER.
Of course, yeah.
So the A380s, it's a magnificent engineering feat, but I think it's kind of struggling to get out of the niche in which it finds itself.
Yeah. Although they've landed a few orders today. Before that had been a little bit of a lull for that aircraft.
Ah, yes, they did. They have had some success at this air show, indeed.
Yeah, which is nice to see. And obviously, there's still deliveries for clients. I think where we find the deliveries happening, that each customer, as they take the first of their aircraft, are still really keen to make a big deal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Big song and dance, big press events they throw, and a lot of the airlines, similar to the 787, use it in their marketing campaigns as well as a choice aircraft, if you know what I mean. It's something that customers will actually change the airline they tend to fly on because of that aircraft.
Yeah, well, some of the aircraft, A380, it introduces an unprecedented ability for these carriers to provide like luxury, like the A380 with SA. That's when you first started seeing suites coming in, and these are it's like a flying palace. Emirates has showers on their A380s.
I think someone actually has a flying palace, don't they?
They do.
It was a private customer, yeah.
And even with me, I flew over to the air show on a Singapore Airlines A380. Sadly, I was in economy class, but nonetheless, it was very modern. The screen and the seat in back of me was beautiful. Really easy to watch movies, watch films. It was a very modern, comfortable ride. If you ask for a cup of coffee, it's made fresh. Very nice.
Excellent. It reminds me, actually, Greg, I should be asking you. We were asking our viewers today about their most memorable flights, whether that's crazy bad or crazy good. What flight stands out, flight experience stands out in their mind. We've talked about people who met their wives by sitting next to them. All reference to my flight over on the Pilatus PC-12 from America to Le Bourget. We've had people who were on the final 747 Singapore Airlines flight that they're talking about. Have you got anything that's standing out as your most memorable flight?
Well, that does not sound like the
A380.
Does it? Yeah, but my most memorable flight, and I could go on about this a while. About 2 years ago, I flew the F-18 Super Hornet at the Langkawi Air Show in Malaysia, and that was by far the most spectacular flight of my life. I mean, it's unreal flying a fighter plane. I mean, it was a 1-hour flight, and after 20 minutes, I was starting to get airsick, but still, amazing.
Well, speaking of amazing fighter flights,
it
sounds to me like we're about to see the Su-35, so we were right about that BA A380. Oh, there it is in the air.
Oh, yeah. He's already up.
He's up already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that A380 just maneuvering. So now we're seeing some of the aerobatic skills, some of the power maneuvers that Greg was talking about earlier.
That's just pure brute force in this aircraft. And aside from, this aircraft is so powerful, it can fight very effectively in the vertical. It can also fight very effectively in the horizontal as well. I mean, it can fight any way you want. It can choose to engage, you can choose to stay away.
It does seem like whichever way he wants to point that aircraft, he can do whatever he likes with it.
And the key to something like this, now, all that power. How are we doing there? 99.
We're up at 99. He can do better than that. We 102.6 yesterday.
But the reason the fighters need this much power is at an air show, it's certainly nice to have, for the display and so forth, but if you think about a person throwing a javelin, because ultimately these things are designed to fire missiles at other aircraft. I mean, these are killing machines. And if you're at a higher level and you have more power, and you're say you're a javelin thrower, if you're 50 feet tall and you're running twice as fast as anybody else, you'll be able to throw that javelin much farther.
Wow.
Whoa.
He's broken the 100. That's the first time we've gone over 100 today. 100.
That's incredible.
And that's incredible. How does that happen? It looks like it's defying the laws of physics there.
It is. It almost is. It's insane. But the idea with all that power is you get at this super high altitude. When you fire missiles at targets, it gives you the option to engage the enemy first. And this thing, with that speed and that power, that high altitude capability, is phenomenal.
What kind of speed can this aircraft reach?
Well, maximum just clean configuration, I'd say about Mach 2.5, but they'd never do that in a combat situation. I mean, probably though, I think in a typical combat mission, it'd be about the speed of sound. Maybe now and again it'd be a lot higher, because one of the problems with doing this is it burns a lot of fuel.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of old dinosaurs being chewed up here. Beautiful.
So given his, obviously he's come all the way over from Russia.
Yeah.
And given a clean configuration and a kind of an efficient velocity, what kind of range are we looking at for this aircraft?
Well, in a clean configuration like that, I'd expect it to have a range out to about over 1,000 miles, But probably, though, in a typical combat situation, you'd have a lot of extra fuel, you'd have air-to-air refueling, you'd have weapons slung under. So probably a combat radius of 800 to 1,000 miles would be realistic. I mean, this is a real, this is a beast of a fighter, though. I mean, this is Russia's top fighter. I think they've received about 10. They're continuing to receive the aircraft. It's interesting, like the engines on this aircraft are the same engines on the PAC-FA, which is their developmental fifth-generation fighter.
Oh, look at that, Greg. That's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. He's just showing off. It's incredible. But at the show, it's been a real, like the other day I was walking by the paddock. Oh, I think we get the sound.
So unlike the Rafale, we have the twin fins at the back with the twin engines. Is that, what does that bring to the aircraft?
Well, basically it gives you more lateral control. But there's a debate. I mean, there's some very fine aircraft that have like the twin fins, like the F-15 and the Sus, tend to be a bit larger. Smaller fighters, such as like the Gripen, the F-16, would tend to be able to go with just one fin. But these guys have two engines and there's just so much power, you need a bit of extra surface area to help get you around.
Maybe there are maybe 30 to 40 aircraft in use already from an order for maybe 140. They're now talking to CIS nations who maybe fly the Mi-24 as replacements, and then anywhere that's hot, that's high, it's got plenty of power. So they said basically the usual suspects who Russia have armed in the past, they may wish to come and talk to them, and they'd be happy to speak to them.
Excellent. Craig, thanks for your time this afternoon, and we will see you again tomorrow, no doubt.
Very welcome. Keep it warm.
Yeah, burning it up here on the Fly Global show live. It is properly warm here.
Well, I think we need a bit of a break, actually. So,
so
we've got something sorry, go on, Graham.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think we're in there's a sort of temporary lull in the flying display.
Well, and there's 2 more days to enjoy anything that we haven't covered in detail so far. But as we said earlier in the show, our journalists have been out and about. We've been out and about. There's plenty going on the deck around the show, and our esteemed editor of Flight International, Murdo Morrison, got a chance to talk to Ruag earlier in the show to talk about the avionics upgrade for the Swiss Army, Swiss Air Force. So I think we've got a chance to see that now.
In 2006, the Swiss Air Force awarded Ruag a contract to modernise 15 of its TH-89 Super Puma helicopters with a series of avionics enhancements, including a glass cockpit and flight management system. The programme is on track, with 9 of the 15 aircraft handed over so far, and the rest due to be delivered by the end of next year. The aircraft's making its Paris debut, and we spoke to test pilot Beat Führer about the program.
In this cockpit we installed a helmet-mounted display for day and night flying, then a modern flight management system with a capability for vertical navigation and tactical approaches, as well as search and rescue patterns, then a modern digital map system and several tactical radios. The new FLIR system integration is linked with a searchlight, so we have the possibility to share data between the operator in the cabin and the crew in the cockpit. There is also a data link to share data with the ground forces, which is really enhancing the mission capabilities for ASR and search and rescue.
This model of the TH-06, it stands for Transport Helicopter, and the year in which it was commissioned, has just finished its flight test schedule and will make a reappearance at Riyadh in the UK in July before being delivered to the Swiss Air Force. This is Murdo Morrison for Flight Global at Paris.
And welcome back.
That's an impressive helmet. Now, we're talking about today, memorable flights, hashtag crazy flights, crazy flights. And your chance to win a pair of Qatar Airways tickets, your best crazy flight, at Paz_live, Twitter, via email, on webmaster@flightglobal.com, on the Ustream feed, which you can see over there, on our Facebook page. Anywhere you want to comment, we'll pick those up. So keep those coming in. Actually, I was reminded of another one from that flight in Tanzania.
Oh,
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
a first for me, which is so we were flying down into the game reserve, and in comes the pilot, and he starts circling a bit. I said, why aren't we landing? He said, they have to drive up and down the airstrip to move the gazelle and zebra off. Oh, all right, okay. So it's not necessarily a threat of bird strike at that one. But,
Gazelle strike.
Gazelle strike.
You don't get many instances of gazelle strike, I assume. Yeah, I suppose.
Yes. So we've got a cracker coming up next. What's next? The Starduster.
The Ziggy Starduster. Now, many of you may remember the Starduster for one of the stars of last year. It's one of the reasons we've not focused quite so heavily on it this time around. Yes, the Starduster is up there.
And then there's the Dassault Rafale, the next of the fast jets, currently clocking up at 102.2 decibels. Can he beat it today?
So we're expecting the Rafale in about 5 to 10 minutes. But we're going to, in the meantime, we're going to leave you with pictures from the display leading into the Rafale and
the Stardust and then Rafale. Yeah. So we'll be back at the flying display at your leisure.
Well, we're back. Perfect timing.
Not that you would have been able to hear us anyway.
No.
You feeling a bit more refreshed, Graham?
It's a small interlude there in between, and obviously, well, this one has been this bad boy has been going through its paces.
The Rafale, yeah. We've so the Sukhoi, when I was talking to Greg earlier, didn't quite manage to match the heights that it had yesterday. The Yak topped its personal best and nudged up to just under a ton, but the Sukhoi didn't quite manage it. And now on the decibelometer, the Rafale so far has achieved 101.7. 101.7 is.
I thought there'd be some movement on that. I thought that was quite good.
I'm thinking atmospheric conditions must obviously be telling.
Well, I mean,
making a difference.
Yeah, I'll put that to our weather specialist. He is a trained meteorologist, Michael Gubish.
He will know the answer, I'm sure.
As to whether what the cloud formation means for sound.
Thanks. I'm sure Michael will be pleased to answer that question.
He certainly will, because he is a trained meteorologist.
Yes, of course. So the Dassault Rafale just coming into land there. It's a good display. It's the second of the really fast jets. And we'll see that again, I'm sure, later on. So don't worry that we didn't talk through that one. We just let you enjoy the sounds and the sights. But we'll no doubt drag someone else who knows a bit more about it out to talk tomorrow or Thursday. Okay, so welcome back. And you guys have obviously been busy while we've been away. We've got a few tweets and messages to read out.
Absolutely. There's one there from Wheelsdown.
He says, he's talking about our crazy flight, our memorable flight tweet in to win those Qatar Airways tickets. In the left seat of the Dreamliner ZA001. Wow. When Captain Mike Bryan brought it down to...
It's actually been cut off, I think.
It's an S, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Where could that be?
Seattle?
We'll
get to the rest of it. Brought it down to... Oh, yes, it could be. It's either brought it down to Seattle or it's brought it down with
all the way down to Chinatown.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Storm Attack. Message in from Storm Attack. What's up from Kalgoorlie in Western Australia?
Kalgoorlie.
Now, I'm going to put that on because I have been to Kalgoorlie.
Have you been there?
It is. Well, many years ago, I did a tour of Western Australia.
The stickers, I see them.
And having been to Perth, I thought we would. We went to. I don't know. There were about two or three places round in Western Australia, which is, I think, I'm correct in saying, the world's most. Well, Perth is the most unconnected city or remote city in the world, and Kalgoorlie is a mining town down in the very southwest near Bunbury in Denmark.
You've done well to be at
I know my southwest Australia.
Of course I've been to Kalgoorlie. Right, let's try this one then. Paul Firmage, he's watching from Droxford in Hampshire, UK. Not quite as far away as Kalgoorlie, but I still haven't been there.
No, I haven't been to Droxford either. I've not. In fairness, I've not heard of Droxford, but I'm sure it's very nice. Oops. Oh, sorry. Excellent. We asked for a bit more detail from Edgarus Routes from who tweeted in earlier from Lithuania. Now he's actually in a place called Trakai.
Oh well, that clears it up.
That clears it up. So if you just want to move it ever so slightly to the. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Thanks for that clarity. So who else we got? We've got.
I think we're on Rene.
Rene Monar. I watching you from Slovakia in capital letters.
Hey.
It's Slovakia. So we're munching our way through the through Eastern Europe here.
Yeah, just about up there. Yeah.
There we go. What's next?
Actually, I missed a second from Lithuania, so I thought I think we have another one. This is Ritas Zan. Okay, no, I'm gonna have a run up for this one. All right. This can't be. This gone. Okay, no. Give me a run up. Becky, could you count me into 5 on this? Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Ritas Zajankanov. That was awful. Zajan Chokovskis. Lithuania is watching. Thank you, Ritas.
Spoken like a native to the land. Lithuania, double Lithuania. Right. Oh, it's another challenging one here.
It is. I think I remember this one from last year, actually.
Marvani Peter Georgi. Yeah?
Georgi. Maybe Georgi.
Georgi. Well, welcome. Put a sign on Hungary, Budapest, please.
Excellent. And it's fortunately that is Budapest, because it might have been a struggle. Balaton. Balaton is a place in Hungary I've come across. A bit higher up.
Just there. There we go. Oh, it was obscured.
This is fantastic. We're adding a string of countries in this in this section. Robert Koprowski, Poland.
Poland.
That's our first from Poland, I think.
Let's put him in Warsaw unless he corrects us.
There you go, check that there.
And oh, excellent! You asked for more African viewers. We've got Apazov doesn't say who he is, but he's watching from Nigeria. Whoever he is.
Nigeria, yeah. We'll try and get the name on that. So we have a Nigerian. Oh,
I'm going to go with Lagos.
Yeah, and what I like, again, as ever, you have these from all around the world, and the last sign-off almost always seems to be a little closer to home, or close to our home, I guess. Live, hi guys, I'm watching from Aldershot, Hampshire. Put a pin in the map for me, please. And again, we don't have a name, so we're going to try and dig, that's been cut off somewhere. So we'll try and dig out that name.
Aldershot, fantastic. Right, brilliant. Okay, so one thing I haven't mentioned, actually, we haven't mentioned, Graham, and we've talked a lot about our Qatar topic du jour giveaway, but for those tickets. But we have an ongoing competition, don't we, this week, this whole week?
Yes, absolutely.
So for anyone who is watching this stream, in case you found it somewhere other than Flight Global, there is an added advantage from logging on to and signing into the FG Club at Flight Global on our website and watching the stream there, because if you do that, you are automatically entered into a model prize draw. We've got a fantastic Boeing 787 model. It's I think it's a 1 to 200 scale or something like that. It's about yay big. It's certainly worth a win, and all you got to do to be in with a chance of winning that is to sign into the FG Club and watch this show between now, if you already haven't done, and Wednesday. And we'll be drawing the prize winner, one of you lucky prize winners, out live on the show on Thursday.
And that's the beauty of it. You virtually have to do nothing. All you have to do is sign in.
Keep watching.
You don't actually even have the effort of typing in a place or thinking of something witty or
it's the land train.
Or interesting. Climber, if you can see
hello.
Behind us, there goes the land train. We'll be doing a bit more work where in the world in a minute, but one's just caught my eye, and it is breaking news. This will just come up on Ustream. I'm just going to get the name. Where's he gone? Oh no, he's about to come off. Rhys Baggin. We'll double check that's the correct. So it's
watching from New Zealand.
He is watching from New Zealand.
Excellent. Let's get him on there.
So I suspect that is the furthest we have.
Right, I'm going to put him in Wellington unless he confirms somewhere else. Right, okay, so a bit more of that fun and games later. But as we mentioned earlier in the programme yesterday we had a special guest, very special guest in the chalet, in the Flight Global Media chalet here. We were joined by legendary astronaut Buzz Aldrin. They don't come much bigger than that.
And puns aside, there was a genuine buzz in the office here. I mean, when he came in, it looks like it's quite. You get gnarled, seasoned old hacks in here who kind of seen it all, done it, and then they're all kind of waiting. They're waiting, sort of, seeing the.
Perhaps they want to come on.
Yeah, they all kind of. Oh, there was a buzz.
Yeah. So apologies if you've seen this before, but we think it's worth the indulgence. We think it's worth showing again. So here we go. Here's the interview from yesterday with Buzz Aldrin. I'm lucky to be joined here in the Flight Global chalet at the Paris Airshow by Buzz Aldrin. Thank you very much for coming in, Buzz.
My pleasure to be here. It's a little warm now after a little sprinkle this morning that some of us weren't quite prepared for.
Yes. Now, Buzz, you're here helping to promote your new book, which is Mission to Mars: My Vision for Space Exploration, which is all about laying out, detailing a vision of how to get to Mars by 2035, and not just a one-off visit, but a sustained exploration of the planet. Can you tell us a bit about the book and why you decided to write it?
Well, 2035 is pretty arbitrary. A lot depends on who's making kind of a commitment to advance humankind's exploration limits. I felt that in my life, this is probably a good time for me to take what I've done before and project it into another plan. I did that sort of thing at the beginning in 2009 to the Augustine Commission that was looking for options for the future. And I find that in the intervening years, I've looked carefully at that, and I really haven't changed my mind all that much in the basis of what I think should be the guidelines. And it's primarily written with the U.S. objectives in mind. It's not trying to say how this should be integrated into other nations or advising other nations. It's, as an American, this is what I believe the United States should be doing with the opportunities that we have. And I might say that the 8 chapters are sort of summarizing different periods of influence, and it's Forward is one I'm very proud of because it was written by my son, who's probably a bit smarter than I am. At least he speaks Russian, has a PhD, and is in a rewarding part of the corporate world.
Well, it's getting rave reviews on the internet, which is great to see. And I think when you talk about exploring and visiting places like Mars, everyone gets it's a very emotive, very emotional subject. Everyone's very positive about it, particularly in aerospace. But do you think that that the US or the world as a whole has the will or even the resources, the way in the current climate to see through such a long and sustained program?
If we take a pessimistic attitude of what we're involved in now, we probably won't do much of anything. That's why we need to look at where we are and how we can move and inspire young people to begin to lift up their generation the way that I believe we witnessed after the Apollo program. The United States, anyway, had a great leadership in many subjects, and there wouldn't be an STEM education movement if it weren't indicative that those subjects are the ones that have been declining. And I'm not trying to solve all the education challenges that we have today. I'm trying to participate in what I think the nation can do that can be very inspiring to worldwide and open up the opportunities for cooperation in ways that reflect, I think, what all of us in Apollo felt was a phrase that symbolized our effort, which was, we came in peace for all mankind.
That's very true. One thing that, you talk about inspiration and motivation, well, we have seen some progress on the space front, and some recent milestones is around the private sector and things like space tourism and SpaceX and those things. Do you feel that those kind of projects, that they're a distraction or a benefit to further reaching more ambitious scientific projects? Is it all for the good, or is it detracting from a more sort of noble mission?
Well, the government had a program of inflatable spacecraft, and they put it on the shelf, saying we're not ready for that. And yet there's a private company now that is in the process of assembling a space station in different orbits, and has thoughts of putting these inflatables on the moon. There's another effort at innovation that the Air Force and NASA looked at in the way of lifting body runway landers that were going to be a part of a lifeboat system at the space station. And again, it was set aside because it was prudent, maybe, to use the aging Soyuz spacecraft, which to me didn't really advance technology. And now we have 3 different companies vying for a government continued subsidy to take cargo and personnel to the space station. And the most innovative of those 3 has received the least amount of government support, and I think that's not a good sign, especially when you look into the history of that design, and it came from a Russian design 25 years ago.
Well, and finally, Buzz, just one more question, because I know you're a busy guy. You need to be places. We've been asking our viewers from around the world, in homage to your book here, if they had the opportunity to land on Mars as part of a first mission, what their first words would be. Now, obviously, the moments and footage from the Apollo 11 landings are some of the most iconic and memorable in the world. What sort of advice would you say to people who are trying to? How do you compose yourself? How do you compose your thoughts when you're talking back to the whole of the planet Earth?
I would probably take a few liberties with Neil's words of a small step of reaching the moon, but for mankind it was a large. I think the large leap will be establishing permanence on another planet in the solar system. And to me, there are indications that were we to go there and turn around and come back, we're missing the opportunity of building up a permanent settlement which gathers together the leader in this effort as we welcome and attempt to open this up to international involvement. This is not a single state trying to do something. The United States has always pioneered exploration that opens the door, and sometimes it takes a long time for people to pass through that door that we opened up 44 years ago. But I think it's a challenge to the inventiveness to be able to observe that for 3-4 presidencies, the ultimate objective has been openly declared as Mars. Okay? I think it's time that we actually make the commitment to accomplish that, and to do that in a way that reflects deep thinking about what would happen if we went there and then came back. How long would that program last? And the other big question is, should we return to the moon? I fervently say that would be a mistake for the United States to do that. We have the talent, we have the experience to be able to be very helpful to other nations to land their human beings for prestige or whatever the reasons are, but to do it in ways that build up our capability to go elsewhere. Now, they're not obvious at first glance. You have to look for what are the things that we could do at the moon that would help us do things at Mars, and that ought to guide our vision, and that's what's tried to guide my vision.
Well, thank you very much. Amazing insight there from Buzz Aldrin. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Paris Air Show. Okay, so that was great and brilliant to hear the words from Buzz Aldrin there, and we'll go back now to some of the footage from the Fleur Star Sapphire 380 HD out on the chalet balcony. Hi, welcome back. We're just watching the Fuga at the moment while you've been enjoying that Buzz Aldrin interview. I think you had a window in window, which is useful. And now that Buzz interview, what a great star he is. Worthy of the Paris Air Show. And as we watch the Fuga, Michael was very keen on the Fuga.
The Fuga,
the Goobs.
He knows more than just weather, I think, that man.
Oh, yes.
And Buzz obviously came in yesterday. It was fabulous. He and very kindly gave away a signed copy of his book, Mission to Mars, which he gave away yesterday in yesterday's show.
That's right, yeah. So we've got more tweets. Oh, you're tweeting, and we've got like tens of thousands of viewers are viewing today. Thank you all very much for tuning in and putting up with us. I hope you're enjoying the footage via the Star Sapphire sensor to my left over here. Fantastic. And you've been tweeting in about where you are in the world. You've been tweeting in about your most memorable flight moments, your crazy flight moments, in order to win those Qatar Airways tickets anywhere in the Qatar network. So keep doing that. But we've got some more where in the worlds, Graham.
Yes, we've got Julio Coronado, 315. I think it might be my best pronunciation yet. Julio Coronado. It's probably Julia. No, Julio. And he's watching from California. Oh, California. I can't say California now. California in the US.
Grab the stickers.
Yeah. Do a bit of... him now. Because the California big state, I think more likely San Diego. I'm going San Diego.
It's a brave choice. So we've got Ian Wong, 524, watching from Hong Kong with about 5 Gs. Ian Wong, he's from Hong Kong.
There we go. Spot on.
Spot on, Ian Wong from Hong Kong.
And that's our first from Hong Kong. It's another. What am I doing? Oh, it's there, just there.
The south of. Well, technically China, I suppose.
Yes,
is that our first?
It's yeah, that is technically. But not mainland China. We have Raven 1607 watching from Russia. Raveman 1607 from Russia.
That's rave o'clock.
Now, again, Russia's such a large country, it could be a bit of a struggle, but I'm going to guess.
I'll bet you once again. You pick your bets.
Yeah,
Brave man, you've got to tell us where exactly in Russia.
I'm going for Yekaterinburg.
Again, a brave choice.
Yeah. No, well, you know,
you're not playing the odds.
I'm not playing. I'm
going to go Moscow.
Even now, Moscow.
Right. Oh, hang on. We've got a few more.
Yeah.
Throwing them away. Okay, Matthew Hector via Twitter. He says, at Flight Global, I'm watching from Dorset in England. Pin me on the map, please.
Certainly can. And actually, there is room, isn't there?
Well,
nearly. It's not quite.
Up.
It's not quite there. We have Thunderbirds. Got in contact via the Ustream. I'm watching from Tokyo in Japan.
Tokyo.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Then we have one other, I think we had one other Japanese, or maybe two Japanese viewers from Japan. We opted for Osaka. That was a bit of a guess last time, but that's definitely the first for Tokyo.
Yep. Thunderbirds, we've done you. We've got Gianfernando Cabal.
That's a good pronunciation.
Hi, I'm watching for you from Milan in Italy. Welcome. I don't think we've got any Italians. You're our first.
It's the first. Oh, it is, isn't it?
Apparently, oh, there comes the Magister just landing now behind us. Apparently, at this moment, Kenyans logging in, viewing. Richard's pronunciation over the talkback here is Hamel Baladadav. We're yet to confirm that, so apologies if that's you.
Excellent, that's very good.
KD, you just mentioned me on your live stream map stickering. Chuffed to bits. Thank you, Kay, from Aldershot. That was double mention.
Yeah, double mention.
Any more, and you owe us some money.
Delia. Great live streaming. The sound is so surreal. It is not just our sound, but I assume the sound of the aircraft is.
Well, thank you. I a dealer, let us know where you are. We'll add you to the map. And lastly, we've got Rob 23232. Where's Runway Girl? Well, I have no idea.
Never.
Don't know who Runway Girl is. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just wondering whether, because you know how sometimes you have to get that, to get the name, you type it in, you go 1. Oh, that's taken 2. That's taken. Do you think there were so many Robs? He's had to get to 23,232.
He's possibly
could be. Oh, I'll give it another 1,000, and if that one's not clear, then I'm going.
Well, now I'm this far. It's like hanging on the telephone, isn't it? On waiting. You are next in the queue. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, quick sending your crazy flights in. We want to give that prize away. We're going to do that tomorrow, live on the show. That gives a chance for people watching on the other side of the world. The recorded stream, because obviously after this finishes, it goes into a loop, so people can see what we recorded if it's not live in their time zone.
Absolutely, and we get a lot of comments in that come in overnight. But we'd love to hear from you. All kinds of one colleague of mine, I remember telling a great story about, and he was flying. It was a small flight in Scandinavia. It was only a kind of probably a 19-seater kind of arrangement, and he arrived into the airport lounge, and he's all quite sort of relaxed, and he gets in. There's virtually no one there. There's like a couple of people and one bloke, and this guy just, and he's about half an hour before they're due to take off, and this guy just looks up from his newspaper and goes, "Well, now you're here, we might as well set off." And it was the pilot. He's kind of just waiting for him. Now, that was a very small plane. I'd like to say, I'm still waiting to hear. Surely someone's been on a flight where they're the only one in a section, or virtually the only one on board.
I just remembered another one of mine. This is pretty boring. Well, I think so. But you've got to put your mind into you've got to put yourself in the mind of a 14-year-old boy who's not very sure of himself, flying out to see his mum, and comes down the aisle. The hostess. A special meal for you, sir. Me? No. A vegetarian. No. And I get the other end. My mum's like, "How's the flight?" "Oh, yeah, it was fine. Apart from, I was asked by the hostess I ordered a special meal." She said, "Oh yeah, that was me. I booked that for you." "Why?" "Oh, well, you told your nan that you liked the look of that. The special meal that the person next to you was doing on the last flight back." It's like. Yeah, there's conversation, and then there's... You can ask me, do I look like a vegetarian? Apologies to any vegetarians out there. Obviously, welcome to view this show as much as anyone else. Okay, so so we want those flight moments, better than mine, hopefully, to come in, and we also want you to tell us where in the world you are.
It's a fabulous prize, the Qatar Airways ticket. So do keep contact with us on that, and on where you are in the world. Yeah, you know how to get in touch with us, I hope, and you should see at various times on the screen coming up. But obviously via Twitter, that's a great way to get to us live at live_Paz.
No, Paz_live. You've been in the sun too long.
It's been a long day today. Ustream, a lot of you get in contact with us on that. So, and of course, slightly more old-fashioned email, webmaster.
Now, I can see behind us now, via the reflection there, another have starred the show, creating a storm. It's the 787 Dreamliner. It cuts a lovely shape in the sky, doesn't it, Graham? What a bird.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is Air India. The aircraft obviously in service with a number of airlines again, and obviously back up in the sky after the battery problems that kind of created so many headlines. So obviously great from Boeing to have such an iconic aircraft, and it is. I think you see the iconic value that airlines are getting from it.
Well, absolutely. It's being used as a proper marketing tool. I bet it's similar to the A380 now, but I noticed Thomson recently in the UK took delivery of their first aircraft, and they're proudly saying they're the first operator in the UK to have that aircraft, and that's the reason it should come out, a big marketing campaign everywhere in the UK. That's the reason you should fly with Thomson. Go to your dream destination on a Dreamliner. So I'm going to say, I think we'll see that with a lot more airlines as they come along. Oh, great view there at the underside of the aircraft. So quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, we should get the decibelometer.
Yeah, the
Becky, can we have the decibelometer, please? Let's measure this guy.
So I think it's I think it's really fascinating about the 787 is the way it's actually gone in service really across the world in whole different parts. You know, very early on, you're getting the aircraft. You know, all over the world, people getting that experience with Ethiopian in Africa and Latin America, LAN, Air India.
I suppose that's what separates it separates this from the A380 quite significantly. A380 barrier to entry for that aircraft. You've got to be a big enough airline. You've got to fly those big routes. Expensive aircraft to buy. But with the 787, it's all about efficiencies, isn't it? And it's it's not a super jumbo double decker. It can fly incredibly efficiently, but it can still do those long haul routes, and so probably more attractive to a more wider variety of airline customers.
And you can see the value and the marketing opportunity. I mean, we've been told. Oh, here we go. I think we might have a chance to put 787 on the desometer.
I think it's barely getting above the 70s. In fact, our voices are louder than the 787. That tells you something about how quiet this aircraft is.
That's frightening. We're louder than the 787. That's not good. So I think you see it. Obviously, there's Air India getting having their aircraft here. The opportunity to show that off, and you see Qatar Airways, obviously 787 last year, and Qatar 787 is here
Qatar
again.
Very keen to bring their aircraft here again. They see this air show much in the same way they saw the uplift in profile from bringing their 787 to fly at the Farnborough Air Show. They were keen to continue to feed that audience, continue to create a profile. So that's available, and that's very much on static, but they're inviting people to come in on tours and see the interior and see how good a flight experience could be, which is a good link into our Qatar Airways tickets.
Absolutely.
Competition. So your most memorable flight, you could be in chance. You could win on that. You could fly on the Qatar Dreamliner. Wouldn't that be good?
I would actually.
Yeah.
I haven't done it.
I might enter. Well, we could always pick our own entries.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think there's some rule against that.
Yes.
Although I did once. This is totally going into totally. I once drew my own name out of a hat to win an iPad, and then had to tell people around me that I didn't want it. Don't give me the iPad. Give it to someone else.
Now, of course, the 787 it's not just flying today. It has been in the news, hasn't it, Graham? That's probably tomorrow's paper's headlines, but currently headline on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really busy morning for Boeing, and there was a lot of talk before the show. Probably would this be where they launched 787-10? It appeared that almost certainly was the case when there was a commitment for 10 of the aircraft announced by GCAS yesterday, and today was the formal launch. They went for it, and they've gone with their 5 customers, more than 100 aircraft committed to across the 5, and it's and there'll be. It's a nice mix for them. British Airways are IAG parent, United in the US, Singapore in Asia, and then a couple of lessers, GCAS and ALC. So that's big ticket stuff. That'll be all over the papers tomorrow, and you can catch. We've done a shed load of coverage of that, so you can.
Here comes the 787 coming into land. No. Barely a sniff. Barely a sniff on the decibelmeter.
So you can read much more about that on flightglobal.com. There's news there, and on our premium news site, Flight Global Pro. Also, if you're interested in keeping track of the various orders, because there's been a bunch today. We've had the
order tracking.
Yeah, we had the 787s. We've had a very big order for ATR. From another Danish lessor called NAC, Nordic Aviation. And Embraer have announced a couple. There are a couple more still to come. We're expecting quite a significant one from Boeing in the next 30 minutes or so. Now we're tracking all of that. We thought, there's always a lot of interest between Airbus and Boeing themselves. Obviously, Boeing says it doesn't sort of take part in this.
Well, that's right. They say they don't, but everyone else does on their behalf.
Yes,
so, it's always one of the stories of the show is the order war. Who wins the order war? Boeing, Airbus, who gets the most orders across all their different family of aircraft? And obviously there's all the other manufacturers as well to consider. So, you know, we've got this order tracker on our website, on the FG Club, and you can see how the order picture, the commercial aircraft are being bought and by whom, and where they are around the world. And,
gives you a little snapshot of flavour and helps you sort of keep track of the bigger picture on that. So that's available in the FG Club, which if you're not already watching through there, and if you went in there, you would then have the benefit of signing in and being eligible, as long as you did it before the end of tomorrow, being eligible for another of competitions.
For that 787 model. Now, it's not in Air India colours, it's in Boeing colours. It's a splendid looking thing. If you were watching yesterday, you would have seen the model. I was holding it up. And speaking of models, so not only do the lucky winners of that crazy flight, the most memorable flight, win Qatar Airways tickets, but if you're a runner-up, we've got some Qatar Airways 787 models to chuck your way as well. So make sure you get those in.
That sounded more menacing than a call to action.
Oi, get them in.
Send it in.
Nah. Excellent. Okay, so we're coming to towards the end of the flying display. Now we've got one more feature aircraft, and we're only picking and choosing certain aircraft to feature each day. We're
going to do Ziggy Starduster on Friday.
Yes, tune in on Friday for the Starduster. Unfortunately, we finish on Thursday. We're going to speak back. We're going to invite Greg back in a while to talk through the Sikorsky helicopter, the Black Hawk, and then we'll be winding things down. But keep sending your tweets in, and we'll finish up with a roundup of all the tweets and messages that come in over the next 20 minutes, half an hour or so. So we're going to take a short break, I think, now, and leave you with some panoramic images of the static display and the Paris Air Show here before we come back with more commentary on that Black Hawk.
And the Black Hawk. Oh, yeah. How's it been for you?
Really busy.
No, it's quite a it's a sort of
X.
yeah. Okay, hi. You join us back here at the Airshow. I'm joined by Greg Waldron,
Yes.
who based in Singapore. I was not only defence specialist in everything.
Yeah, I have a pretty broad remit. I cover the Asia-Pacific aerospace and airline market, so I cover everything from defense as well as airlines and airline routes. But of course, we have a team in Singapore, so we all kind of work together for that stuff.
And you've been covering defence at the show here mostly.
Yeah.
How's it been for you? What are the stories taking your eye?
There's some big defense stories that came out today. Boeing is going to be in charge of selling and marketing the KC-390 built by Embraer in the United States, the UK, and in select Middle Eastern countries. They wouldn't specify which countries, although I suspect it might be Saudi Arabia. But the idea would be the KC-390 is pitched as a C-130 replacement, and the two companies feel there's actually a market for 700 aircraft of that size.
Oh, wow.
So in theory, you could have Boeing potentially pitching this aircraft in any future replacement of C-130 aircraft in the U.S., but that would be very long term. That was a big story, and then also the Eurofighter Consortium signed an agreement to integrate the Meteor long-range ramjet missile. And that was another big news that came out about an hour ago. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a very big step for the Typhoon platform.
And we'll be able to read all about that in the Daily tomorrow, which we're all writing. Well, I hope so, anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's in the Daily. Yeah, with photographs, no doubt about it, yeah. These are big stories.
So we're Greg's joined us here because, of course, coming up we have the Black Hawk. So what can we? And we're just going to give you a bit of detail beforehand. Greg's got a big press conference to head to in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So what can we? Can you tell us a bit about where that program is right now, I guess?
Well, the Black Hawk is probably the most storied, one of the most successful helicopters in history. They've built over 4,000. It has been developed into a vast range of variants. Now, the original aircraft originated from a 1960s program to develop an aircraft to replace the UH-1 Iroquois, which was a U.S. Army helicopter made famous in Vietnam. It was called the Iroquois, but really the popular name among the troop was the Huey.
Yeah.
All right. So the Black Hawk transpired out of that program. So it was a bigger, more powerful aircraft. And the original aircraft, and the one that still serves with the U.S. Army, can carry 11 fully equipped troops, as well as a crew of 4, which is a pilot, a co-pilot, and 2 gunners. And it offers a much greater survivability, range, and power over the UH-1 that it replaced.
Yeah.
And it's been all sorts of variants over the years. There's commercial variants, special forces variants. There's naval variants used to hunt submarines and for anti-surface warfare, even to very exotic stealth modifications, such as the aircraft that were used in the raid against Osama bin Laden last year.
Wow. So as you say, it's got a huge kind of heritage. Where does it sort of go forward, I guess?
Well, there's still the UH-60 platform is still winning deals. For example, the MH-60R, which is based on that, recently won a package in Australia. They won 2 years ago. They won 24 aircraft competition for naval helicopters. So the MH-60R is still very successful, and that helicopter is being pitched in competitions throughout Southeast Asia. So there's a great demand for it as a naval helicopter. It's used by the United States. The United States is still taking delivery of its MH-60Rs, and it's probably one of the most effective anti-surface and anti-submarine warfare helicopters in the world. So that airframe is very flexible and dynamic. It's very successful.
And in terms of what we might see in this display today and so forth, what kind of things will they be showing off, I guess?
I would think today it's going to be a probably nothing too exotic. Now, remind you, it's a fairly large helicopter, and I'm not sure how old this airframe is, so it won't be quite as exotic as, say, the Tiger display.
Yeah.
We have, a lot of loops and flips and so forth. But it could do, it could throw in a few surprises for us,
Excellent, Greg. Well, I appreciate your time. I better let you get off.
Yeah, I have to take off to Airbus.
Best of luck.
Okay,
We'll be in
take care.
touch. Bye, cheers. So, as you can see, the helicopter displays, the Black Hawk will be starting up very soon. We want to keep hearing from you, and we'll be going across that shortly. We want to keep hearing from you on where in the world, and of course on the quiz we're running today, that chance to win those Qatar Airways tickets. And of course, in case you missed that, we are after what is your maddest and your craziest flight. So, or memorable flight. Doesn't have to be mad. Mine are mostly crazy, mad. They're the most memorable. So, and those details will come up on the screen as to how you can enter that. So yes, in the FG Club is one of the obviously many of you will be watching it through the FG Club already. But for those, as you can see, I'm about to be joined back in the studio by Michael Target.
The sun's out again, lovely. Oh, welcome. Actually, somebody did. Oh, we got some more interaction. Somebody did comment in comparing us to a pair of roasted foxes, which I thought was a particularly nice comparison.
Well, we have a fabulous amount of people watching, haven't we?
Tens of thousands of people all around the world. In the map behind us, as you can see, and just speaking of the weather, actually, now I'm no goobs.
You are I'm no few of us are.
But the rumour has it that we've got again a change in climatic conditions for tomorrow. With they like to throw it at us. Rain forecast for pretty much all of tomorrow, so that'll be interesting.
So we might be back in Studio 3.
Studio 3 inside. Perhaps I won't wear the linen suit. Then.
No, linen suit. Well, I like the idea of the linen suit.
There was a disaster. There was a disaster with the linen suit at Farnborough last year, where we were tucked under. We've got Becky there is nicely shaded under a very fancy gazebo, and we were sat under the gazebo last year at Farnborough when it was tipping down, and we were sat on chairs. But I hadn't noticed that the back of my chair was just outside the splash zone of the gazebo and gradually filling up with water. So I was sitting in a pool of water basically and didn't notice until.
In fairness, I'm now sitting. I'm now sitting in a pool of water. Now just because we have had people asking about how they can win that 787 model.
Yes.
Which of course is the simplest thing to win. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything complicated.
You may well already be eligible to win it. You just have to watch this stream by signing into the FG Club on flightglobal.com. So you might be watching it on there already. If you're not, well, just load that up and watch it on the FG Club instead. It's free to register, and there's loads of great content on there. It's not just this live streaming, it's all high value exclusive features. That order tracker is on there,
in there.
And of course this live stream, and then you get to be in with a chance of winning that 787 model, which we're going to draw that on Thursday.
So you have to register before the end of Wednesday. By the end of our live broadcast on Wednesday, I think is when we're cutting it off on the 5 o'clock.
Yes. Now I've got a fresh sweat. Fresh sweat. There's a slip. Fresh set of tweets here and messages in. So Zama Konafel Zama Konafel.
Zama Konafel. I got hold of us via Ustream, and he's watching the broadcast from Monterrey in Mexico.
Oh, the stickers. Such a high-tech operation. Speaking of prize winners, actually, Andy Duff got in touch with us. Thank you for your email, Andy Duff. He's the prize winner of yesterday's
Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin. Where were we? Monterrey.
Monterrey.
Excellent. And thanks for sending us your address. I will be winging that book to you. Andy had some kind words for us. He suggested we should be the official Farnborough radio presenters. The Airshow there.
Oh, I thought Radio Farnborough across the year.
Yeah. Hampshire's third largest radio station. Then we have?
Yeah, we got Yassine Hashim. That sounds good, doesn't that? Sounds very Yassine Hashim. Greetings from Morocco.
Morocco.
And again, I think last time we opted, because I have certainly had one tweet in from Morocco before. We went for Fez last time. I think it's got to be Casablanca. It has to be Casablanca.
Right, then we've got Zach-ism at Drism. Zach-ism at Drism.
That's brilliant.
He's watching in Stoke. He thinks he's probably the only viewer there. He used to work on the A350 extra wide body aerodynamics and test engineering. Fantastic.
Excellent.
Welcome. Brilliant.
And Stoke, the UK is getting slightly
pulverised. I have been to Stoke, actually. I haven't been to all those places you've been to.
So, Kalgoorlie, not many people have. Above us, of course, I think you can now probably, the Black Hawk, which Greg was talking about, is just taking off. So we'll be showing you those pictures in a second. And we are Paramore. Is there any room for Devon in England, formerly known as Broken
Smiles, welcome. Pin up, guys. Pin it up. I thought we were pin up guys.
Yeah, optimistic.
Pin it up.
Pin up, guys.
Where was he? Devon.
Devon. Just about room on the corner there.
Piling in. Oh yeah, I've missed Devon by a country mile there. There we go.
And so you can see, we'll carry on with the last few of these. Obviously, the Black Hawk. You can see all the pictures above us here.
Raskar Kapak at Volup.
Raskar.
He's watching in Corsica.
Corsica. That will be nice. That'll be hotter than here, won't it?
No. Nowhere is hotter than here.
And
last one.
Oh, this is a good one from Richard Maslam. My wife and I are the only passengers on a domestic flight between Siragira and Kandy in Sri Lanka on a 15-seat twin otter. Richard, that's fantastic. I love it.
Memorable flights there.
That's a personal favourite of mine. I'm very, very keen on getting people who have been on... Richard's set the bar. He's set the bar. Only passengers on a 15-seater. Can we raise that? Is there any takers? Has anyone been the only passengers on a bigger sized aircraft?
So again, a reminder, if you've got a memorable flight, even if you're watching the recorded version overnight, you haven't had a chance to watch the live version, we know there are lots of messages that come in overnight, we were watching them. You're still eligible for this, and we'll read them out in the morning and tomorrow before we make the call on who gets to win those. So feel free to add yours to the stream, and you'll be in with a chance for that prize there. Fantastic prize, courtesy of Qatar Airways. Now we're watching the images of the Black Hawk here. And you heard Greg Waldron earlier just now, talking through that aircraft. And we're more or less winding down for the day here. It's been a long and busy day. There's a steady stream of people behind us, trooping through the heat across the tarmac on their way to the various functions in the evening that people go to. And there is a function that we've got going on this evening, haven't we?
So tonight is the I know how many number of years has this been going on now. This is the Flight Global Achievement Awards.
That's right. Yeah, we kicked it off a few years ago. I think it was 6 years ago.
5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years ago. 5 years it would have been to coincide with our 100th anniversary. Flight been publishing for 100 years, 105 years now.
Yes.
Back at Farnborough. We ran a competition at the time on 100 greatest, and we were asking people for the greatest engines and aircraft and moments and people in aviation. And we've been running it ever since. That's really just recognising the people who have been working in, have been innovating, leading, and operating aircraft and demonstrating excellence in the industry. That's what it's about, recognising people's contributions to the industry. And that's going on tonight at the Musée de l'Air.
Musée de l'Air.
Musée de l'Air. Here at Le Bourget.
The music of air.
The Museum of Air. I do like the music of air.
The music of air.
As a student, I was most into the music of air.
It's one of the more random music references. So we'll have details of the winners from that tomorrow. That will all be across flightglobal.com as well. But as Michael says, we're beginning to wrap up now. We have, of course, we'll be back tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna. Well, let's just see out the Sikorsky and let people enjoy that, and then we can close off for the day. I think enjoy the rest of its routine. Lovely images, of course, being supplied here by the Fleur Star Sapphire system. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage from Fleur's system today. It's on a mast to the left of me, up 8 meters into the sky. Perhaps we can get some a bit of behind-the-scenes footage tomorrow if people would like that. Let us know if you want to see a bit more inside the chalet. That's fine. Of course, Graham and I are going to be getting out and about a bit more.
That's the plan.
And we've got some treats for you.
In the rain, getting out and about in the rain.
Well, yes. Actually, inside the hall sounds good tomorrow. We're going. And there are I think there are 6 halls here. Are full of stands, and it's not just outside, it's not just the static aircraft at the show or the aerial display, or this chalet run that we're on. There are a big traditional exhibition halls with fancy stands and all kinds of fun stuff to look out for. So we ought to take a wander, I think, Graham.
I think we should, and we definitely will. And what's one of the aims, of course, of the broadcaster is not only to show you the flying display, but give you a flavour of what's happening in terms of the mood of the show, the wider show, and the news there.
Oh, we've got some messages coming in. I'll just bear with me while I just read them off the screen here. We've got Rockstar Jet Team. Members of the RSJT are watching this all across the UK from Raza in Liverpool. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Chris, he's an even more patient man. 95200. Great show.
We have Sebring Max, maybe, watching on my Panasonic TV using the Ustream app in Ipswich.
Wow.
That's the first,
well,
first from Suffolk.
Sebring MX, if you switch to the FG Club, then you might win that model.
You have a chance in that model.
And, another first, I think, here. We've got Espen Gravesen from Aalborg in Denmark, saying good afternoon at FG at the Paris Air Show. As it happens, I'm short of a Boeing 787 model. Wow. Well, there you go. Hopefully you're watching this in the FG Club and you could be in with a chance there. Well, you guys, welcome. And tell us what your most memorable flight experience is. You could be in chance of winning those tickets as well. So keep your messages coming in. What's that? Memorable. This is kind of classical music playing in the background. I can hear it. We've got another message coming in now. Runner Hal Dawson. Thank you guys for a really great show.
Iceland. Thank you for being in Iceland for us. I'm sure that's our Icelandic. One of our Icelandic army, but the only one on the map. I don't know why I'm pointing to Greenland. There we go.
So some of the stuff you've got to look forward to in tomorrow's show. It's worth running through that. Of course, the flying display once again. We'll try and feature a couple of aircraft that haven't been focused on today quite so much. You've got, as I mentioned, Graham and I out and about, up to our tricks, and then you've got a special guest. Who have we got?
Special guest. Well, we hopefully are having Mr. Bruce Dickinson.
Rock.
School of Aviation Rock. Flight Academy of Rock.
So yeah, special guest star Bruce Dickinson, who's put down his guitar and picked up an MRO company manual.
Spanner.
So he'll be in the chalet hopefully at some point, and we'll have a chance to talk to him. That would be great. We've got more great videos from our journalists who've been out and about and around the show, talking to people. We've got more of that flight to Paris tomorrow. We've got a cracking topic du jour for you tomorrow.
Yeah,
you're going to love this one. It's well, we won't give it away. You've got to tune in tomorrow. If the flying display is kicking off at the same time, we tend to go on air about an hour beforehand, so look out for that. But if it's the same as today's been fairly predictable.
Yeah, so we'd probably be
on
around about midday.
Yeah.
Do keep in touch. Do keep getting in contact with us. I think I'm off now to have an ice bath.
Yeah, I need a sit down, and then a fresh pair of clothes. And then to bathe my face in moisturiser, as per man-to-man advice from Michael Goobs.
But in the meantime, thanks for being with us this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.